I think we started doing like drinking Friday mornings. Like we would, I think it was Dan actually was like making pina coladas on a Friday morning.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's have a fucking Friday.
There's Barstool breakfast would do. Fridays. I'd come in and Large would like hand me a Bloody Mary. I'd be like, hell yeah. All right.
By now, everyone knows that you can buy your lottery tickets on your smartphone by downloading the Jackpocket app, that the world's #1 lottery app in the world. But did you know that you can get scratch-off tickets now? Not just your Powerball, not just your Mega Millions. You can do your scratch-offs on Jackpocket now to get scratch that immediate itch. You know, you just scratch it off. You get your winnings right then and there on the spot. You don't have to wait for a drawing. You don't have to wait for 11 o'clock at night. You get it right on your phone. The satisfaction, the thrill of winning on a scratch-off right in your pocket at all times. You don't have to have a quarter to scratch off that weird gray shit. You don't have to go to the bodega to get it. It's all right on your phone. Scratch them off. Win your money in select states right now. Available on Jackpocket. Also, if you want to get involved in the big money, Mega Millions has a $145 million pot. Powerball's up to $195 million. Use promo code KFC and get yourself a free Powerball or a Mega Millions ticket today. It's the one-stop shop for ordering National Lottery tickets on your phone. Jackpocket. Download today. Use promo code KFC for a free ticket. All right, let's go. Chicks in the Office on KFC Radio. I think kind of maybe for the first time ever. Is this really the first time?
So.
We did the 420 thing.
Yeah, but that was like a special. That was just like we just got high together on a video. Right? Was that an episode of our show?
That was with
I was gonna say it definitely wasn't me.
Yeah, you weren't there.
Oh, okay.
No,
that was with Doug sitting on the end.
Right.
Yeah. You were silent for an hour straight.
We left at 1 a.m. and Doug was just asleep on the rundown chair.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what am I gonna do?
It got even worse somehow. Yeah.
Our mics are the fucking worst. Everything in our studio is the worst. We have broken chairs, broken mics.
You guys got a vacuum floor.
I think
There we go.
even I think the cleaning people just know this is like the land that time forgot.
No,
They don't come in here?
I see them. They come in. They walk out with 3 water bottles, and I'm like,
That's it.
well, why even go in?
What made you pick those 3?
Yeah.
Because there's 10.
There's so many more.
No, Noah and Sarah and Maddie will vacuum the room themselves.
Okay, first of all, you looked right at me.
I'm looking this way.
No,
There are a couple mysterious stains.
We will always make fun of you, but like
The stains aren't mysterious. They're from Jackie spilling.
no, that's not me.
You've never seen a girl spill like this in your life.
Guys,
Jackie
That's a large one over there.
That one's Tabs.
That was not also not me.
Oh.
Okay, that was not me, but you keep insisting that was me. I swear to God, up and down, that was not me.
All right, every other spot.
I know. Okay, every other one.
Jackie
I'll
will
claim.
have like a cup of coffee, and she'll just walk around like
yeah.
this. She just, and she goes, I don't really care. I'm like, you're soaking wet the table.
Yeah.
She's, I don't really care.
Yeah.
With water.
I think aside from that one high episode, though, I really think this is it.
I think so.
It's definitely your first time,
It's
right?
it's absolutely mine, yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, no, I
This
think I
company's
remember
so
we did one
stupid.
together in the old office, and we talked about like holding hands. Do you guys remember that? And there was like a cartoon of all of us holding hands. It was like a whole thing. I have an impeccable memory. I know that this happened.
She doesn't forget a single thing.
I know that this happened.
Okay.
But
We all talk about like us specifically holding hands or just holding hands in
no, we were
general?
talking. Somebody called in. We did voicemails on KFC Radio, and someone called in talking about like holding hands with a significant other.
Got it.
And then we
And they had
talked
a
about
little
holding
cartoon about it.
hands, and then there was a cartoon put out of the 4 of us holding hands.
I don't remember it, but I see
I
why
was
it's
gonna
something
say,
you
yeah.
remember.
Most of the time, I don't remember things from like 2 weeks ago. She's like, "How do you not remember that?"
Bro, there are times I forget like big stars. Like
Yeah.
we watch it and somebody be like, "Oh, you had them on the show." I'm like, "No, I didn't." It's like, "Yeah, no, you talked to that person for an hour on your show."
Sometimes I'll say a joke on our show, and I notice that Fran kind of skips along, and I'm like, "Do you not?
I have no
get
callback.
it?" And she's
No
like, "No,
callback.
I don't remember that. It just happened last week." And then
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, I guess it wasn't that funny." Then.
Does not ring any bells most of the time.
Dude, it is crazy though. This whole place is crazy. We share a wall, and we've done 2 episodes. And how long you guys been doing it now? 10
Yeah.
years.
We're all
wild.
strangers
So
at this
stupid.
point.
It's so dumb.
7, 8?
It's so dumb.
Yeah. No,
But
I know.
you know what? It's a very strange dynamic where it's like there's definitely everybody has their own shows, and then you know the shows that people get along. You know the shows that are people like we're just professional
Yeah.
acquaintances basically. But then it's like, so the people you're maybe a little bit awkward with, you don't do a show with. And then I feel like the people you're friends with, I don't do a show with. Because you're just friends with them.
You're just not doing
And
other
then there's
people's
no
shows
middle.
in general.
Yeah,
right?
there's no middle.
You're just really sticking to your own show.
Right. No, but honestly, it's like it's like if
Everybody's
I'm
on their own
friends
schedule,
with
too.
you and talk, it's kind of like how you're most mean to your closest friends. I feel like that way about podcasts. Like I'm not gonna have my friends on my podcast. You know?
Right. With the SNL stuff recently, I was actually just talking about this, that when they talk about like old SNL, that they would be like in their offices late at night and they were like scared of Lorne Michaels and like the whole thing. That's kind of, I'm like, oh wow, it's kind of like Barstool when I first started. It was like everyone worked together. It was like we were all a team, everyone worked together, and then there was Dave in his office and it was like you don't leave the office until he leaves the office, and like everybody was in it together. And like now it's just like everyone's over
their own
here,
little company.
everyone's there, everyone's just like spread out.
I think it's probably, I go back and forth. Like sometimes I've always wanted it to be more collaborative. I tried my hardest to make it like that. But then I also think it's just like not very realistic. So it's almost better that everyone has their own thing and they have their own little company and their own little success. But goddamn, it's like the entire business is based on sharing audience and having people on your shows, and you build your audience and we swap, and we just don't do that here. It's like we could do that all the time and we just don't do it.
I feel like the bathrooms just being in the middle of the office is single-handedly, because like then it's just weird outskirts. And
Yeah,
people don't
that's
see
the
each
only
other.
place you meet is in the
But
goddamn
it's
Should
bathroom.
we redesign the office?
We just no bathrooms.
I'm still waiting for us to get a pool table.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, you know what? I wanted
Yeah,
the pool
yeah.
table, and it was shot down because it was like too like frat bro or whatever. We're getting the pool table.
Okay,
Ping pong.
can we get the pool table?
We're getting the fucking pool
or ping
table.
pong.
Yeah.
Let's get something
We'll
in
get
the middle
two.
of the
You know what? I
office.
think we can afford both. Yeah, I think we can get both.
I think Pops is.
You know those
Yeah,
ones that you could like
we-
flip when you like those small ones you could flip over where like one side was ping pong,
Did you ever
one
have
side
that
was
as a
pool.
kid?
Yeah, like small one in our,
It's
in our
That
basement.
always
I remember
inevitably
thinking it
became
was the
beer pong
coolest thing
tables.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was just like it'd be a high school party.
But we
I think
gotta
I
start,
have that ping pong thing.
We gotta
in the
start
back.
somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
And we could just go back in time and like do what people think we are already, like frat bros,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
play beer pong.
Right.
And even
They
when they try
already
and
think
do,
we're doing that.
even when they try and do like company happy hours and stuff, none of us go.
No,
It's
I know.
all the sales
I
people.
actually
I know.
remember my first week here. I was like doing work, and then you and Bree came up to me, and you guys were like, "Want to play Flip Cup?" Because you guys were doing Surviving Barstool.
Oh no,
and
it
you were
was
like,
Survivor. Yeah,
You're Survivor, and you were like, "Want to play Flip Cup?" And I was like, "Okay, like Barstool is really what they say it was." And also,
last
you
time
guys were
that
so
ever
nice for doing that. I was like, you were so inviting.
When were you playing Flip
No,
Cup?
I
don't know, it was
remember
so
it. It was the first Survivor ever, and I was just hanging out like late hours for whatever reason, and they didn't film at night during that Survivor,
Right.
and they were just like
They
playing
were
Flip
because they
Cup.
were normal fucking.
Yeah, and
they didn't torture you.
Yeah, they were just playing like drinking games, and I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll stay." And
Well, you
then
know what
I
the-
remember Kevin telling me, "Oh, we just hired this girl Jackie," and I was like, "Oh my god."
I got you.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
so it was you. So you're
The old office used to pop off a little bit.
yeah.
There was like
and-
Thursday night, like
Right.
they would bring
Yeah.
clients. and
Everybody,
they'd get
yeah,
fucked
totally,
up. Yeah.
totally.
and
I was
Glenn
still
and
already
I
out
weren't
at that
even
point.
like.
In the company.
No, right. We were interns.
Oh,
and
you're
like I
definitely
wasn't
old
even
enough.
21
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, things were a little hazy there in the beginning. It was like, are these girls, how old are they?
I'm like, what can I say and not say
Right.
about secretly drinking at the office?
Yeah, true.
Those Thursday nights were fun though.
Yeah, those were, I mean, you used to come in on a Friday or even on Monday afterwards and be like, okay.
I think
I
we
know what's going on in
started
this
doing
studio.
like drinking Friday mornings. Like we would
Yeah.
I think it was Dan actually was like making pina coladas on a Friday morning.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, let's have a fucking Friday.
There's Barstool breakfast would do.
Yeah,
those guys
would
are
do
fucked
Fridays.
up.
I'd come in and Large would like hand me a Bloody Mary. I'd be like, hell yeah.
Or do you remember the times Caleb would like make Noah do shots randomly in the middle of the day, and
Yes.
Noah would come back like a
Yes.
little drunk?
Dude, I interviewed J.K. Simmons just straight up drunk. Straight up drunk. We had an interview with him, and at that point, and still to this day, it would be a huge interview for us. So it was even huger back then. And right before that, we had the Michael Davidson's family came in, and all the firefighters came in, and we interviewed them, I think, on Barstool Radio. And they were like, we got to do shots for Mike. So we drank like a bottle of Jameson. And And I was trying to be like, I'm done, guys. And they were like, for Mike. And I was like, oh, my God. And I remember going to J.K. Simmons like, nice to meet you, sir. I'm drunk.
It was so crazy how often that happened. Also, those Thursday nights, I remember like learning about sort of like Feitelberg lore. You know what I mean? Like it was like all these stories would come out that I would see online from Feitelberg, and I was like, oh, like
they're real fucking stories.
I'm hearing it firsthand. It was so crazy though. Yeah, the times that I remember there was a specific like period of time where Kayla would be like, all right, Noah, let's go do shots in the middle.
I forgot about that. I mean, that definitely was a thing.
No, it's about noon. Time to go.
It was never. I don't think it ever was the company that people think it is stereotypically, but we like touched that for a minute.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, there's a time where most people were in their early 20s. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
right.
can I just say that Robbie and I would smoke like humongous backwoods blunts in the middle of the day. Genuinely, I think I would pass out if I did that now. I could not do that now. I don't know
blunt
how
body, right?
Yeah. Like me and Robbie would go to the side behind Dave's office.
Yes, I used to see like you, him,
Ron,
like Boo, whoever, like pop out. Yeah,
we would always go back there, and then we'd come out, and I don't know how I functioned. And then I would go record a podcast.
I was going to say, you were high for probably like the first 2-3 years of doing the podcast. 100%. Like every single episode. It was like she would smoke before every single episode.
Before every episode.
And then you just stopped, right?
I literally
like
just
cold
stopped
turkey?
Because it started making me just feel like it wasn't doing what it did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I started getting more anxious, and I was like, why am I like in a haze all the time? Like that's not cool. Like I was just living in a cloud. And then I just one day just literally threw everything away and just stopped. I was like, that is it. And my brain felt so much better. Like I had so much more energy. I was so much happier. I was like, oh wow, okay. Like I was really living in a cloud. But no, Robbie and I talk about it all the time. We were like, what were we thinking? Like,
does he not smoke anymore?
No, Robbie still smokes.
Yeah,
but
I feel like he's still.
No, but just like in the middle of the day, we would go like
breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a lot, you know.
Yeah, right. But we would just go behind Dave's office and come out and be like, and I probably like it was like big like, why am I rolling up like backwoods blunts? Like it was insane. I don't know. I look back, I'm like, oh my God, I'm afraid.
There was one time where like I walked into the office. It stunk like weed. I don't know if I could physically see anyone smoking weed. It stunk like weed. There was a fucking stained beanbag chair in the corner of the room.
I know who that was.
And Glenny was just taking pictures of Asa and Kira totally naked in the window. And I was like, what is happening?
Bro, you could see,
I remember that day.
Asa she was standing in the windowsill, so if you were on the street, you could just see a naked chick.
No, I remember that day.
What a ride Glenny was on, still to this day, but at that point, that was wild.
The times with Asa, who is so great, I spent a lot of time with Asa, and I was young, and we would do Instagram lives together, and like the followers I would gain from the Asa and Kira Instagram
Asa
lives.
like pretty much invented OnlyFans. She was she didn't invent it, but like she was on it, and I think she got like something. She was getting like 80% of the cut or whatever because it was like they were first building it, and I think she's the reason why it went like porn, because it was just like it's just a paywall where you could put anything behind it if you wanted to, and then it was like
How did you first get integrated into Barstool?
She did it. I did an interview with her that was like really good. Everyone was like, that was incredible. Like you guys had a lot of chemistry, and it was right when Dan was leaving KFC Radio, and I was talking to this producer at Sirius. I was making guest appearances on their show, and me and him had good chemistry. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll start something with this guy. Can we hire him? And Dave was like, I'd rather hire like a big name than like just this random dude. And he was like, what about Asa? And I was like, oh, sounds good to me.
Really? I didn't realize that was a Dave.
I know. I shouldn't say that. I think, I don't know. I don't think I really like, it wasn't my plan. I was happy to do it, but I think he had seen her and saw feedback, and that like people were buzzing about it. Which ended up being good. It bridged the gap well. Like it ran its course, and we had problems with advertisers and all sorts of shit that came with it. But for a transitional period where a lot of people were like, "Well, what is going to happen to this show?" and now it's just like without Dan or whatever, we at least like plugged it in with somebody who's like, you know, attention grabbing.
Yeah, it was nice to make her cry a lot. I would just tell lots of stories and she'd just cry.
Like,
I was like, no, it's funny.
Like the typical like Feitelberg, like
being
just
molested or something?
yeah, like those stories. She would be like, oh my god, this is like horrible. You were like sexually abused, and I was like,
She remember she started making all those candles too.
Yeah,
she used to make
that was
money
a
off of
great
that
story.
shit. Yeah, well, she had like a crane deliver like 10,000 pounds of candles. Her husband was like, "What the fuck is this?" So I'm selling candles now, babe.
You mentioned SNL earlier.
Yeah.
Did everyone watch?
I have not. No.
I watched it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was awesome. I loved it.
I have heard a lot of people
I'm
saying
one of those
it's
people that
super
like
versatile.
understands that everyone does not like SNL now, but I will put it on and chuckle.
I don't
And
get why people
and
don't
people
like
are
it.
like, it's the worst thing ever. It's how could you laugh at it? I'm like, I don't know. I thought that one sketch was kind of funny. Like,
I think they usually have one that like goes viral and
I
is
still
funny.
enjoy watching it, and I mean, I thought the whole thing was really good.
Yeah.
There's only one miss for me. The Bone Yang Andy Samberg song was the only miss.
I didn't
the
care for
whole
that
night.
either.
Was that the
Everything
anxiety
else-
one?
Yeah.
A lot of people sent me that though, saying like Barstool.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Everyone at SNL being anxious all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
kinda what
No,
you're
it
saying.
totally makes sense, but I felt like it was almost they could have taken it farther and maybe made it a little darker.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
like the comedy side of it that I think would have made it funnier.
I wholeheartedly agree
and it
with
was
that.
like it was kind of just very like, oh, we all have anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah, la, la. And I was like,
That's
okay,
dark
well, you
with
know,
it.
like I was like, it didn't reach. It
I think
wasn't
it's a very
like
good
like
review.
I think they
It-
could have been darker, and then people would have been like, whoa, and it maybe would have been funnier. Everything
like
else
high
I thought
school
was
jokes about
it did,
anxiety.
it did. Everything else I thought was really good. The whole thing was really well done, and I thought they picked the right like characters to bring back and everything.
Yeah, I don't know what the review was, what like the feedback has been, but I thought it was.
I think
awesome.
in general SNL is like it's still when you host, it's a big deal.
Totally.
Like people want to act like, oh, it's okay. It's not as good when it had like Sandler, Farley, Will Ferrell, the end of Eddie Murphy, you know, whatever. But like, it's almost a victim of its own success. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's like same thing as Barstool. When once you're really big, people are like, oh, I remember the golden days or whatever. And it's like, all right, maybe it's not that, but it's still pretty fucking good. There's still a reason why people get excited to host it. There's still a reason why people get excited for the music.
But with time too, you just forget the bad ones.
Yeah.
Like I would venture to guess. I obviously don't know. I would venture to guess that SNL hits at roughly the same rate it did, which is probably
Right.
2 funny sketches,
And a bunch
2
of meh.
solid sketches,
And
2
one club.
Yeah.
misses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
And now if you go back and watch the old sketches that you thought were hilarious when you saw them at the time, they're not as funny
they're not.
that they were at
Right.
that time.
Yeah.
Like there's
comedy ages very
poorly.
Yeah.
Which it should.
I think when especially with the internet now, when you can listen to like a million podcasts and people who specialize in things and people who are very knowledgeable about things, like everything is just so heightened.
Yeah.
Where it's like, going back to like Adam Sandler just talking like this. It's
Yeah.
like, that's not
right, exactly.
I was like, it's talking so funny.
It got good pop.
Yeah, it is peak comedy.
They did a whole like pre-done package segment of like moments that have aged poorly, which was very funny.
Yeah.
It was very
you know,
funny.
they
Yeah.
went through a rundown of like, oh, this sexual harassment joke and this, and they had like blurred people's faces when they
Yeah,
all had
they
like did, like a little bit too much bronzer on for certain sketches, and like so it was like they did acknowledge a lot of the stuff from the past. It was
And
well
for
done.
every like clunker,
Yeah.
there's, like when Nate Bargatze hosted, he had a bunch of like I think classic skits
Yeah.
that people are gonna remember.
People
and, like,
love there's certain ones, and when you get a good host, like everybody watched Timothy Chalamet's, which like people
Yeah.
loved.
God, he's the best.
And like they did another Domingo sketch during this special because people fucking went crazy for the Domingo thing.
That
You know
was
what's
Bad
interesting?
Bunny, right?
Yeah, that was the one that was with.
He was the hot one.
Yeah.
Okay. He was
yeah.
so quickly back in the crowd that I was like, wait, what's that? Because I don't really know Bad Bunny
Yes,
that
it
well.
was and
I read
Pedro Pascal and
an article about the science behind their sketches that they call back. It's pretty cool. There's like, I think it's 5 weeks is the number. If you have a skit that hits, they bring you back in 5 weeks, and if it hits again, you do another 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you pretty much get a movie.
Like as a host?
It's
Really?
like no, like for the
Like,
cast
right,
member.
for the cast member.
If
They,
it's
like,
just
just
like a
locks
funny
you in.
character
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And they went back and they looked at like I think the only one that didn't was Night at the Roxbury. Night at the Roxbury just went right away. But
Yeah.
everything else that was like a very big that transitioned into movies had a hit, 5 weeks hit, 5 weeks, and then it goes. And they like plan. They know they can't overuse it, but they want to make sure people don't forget about it. And there's like a whole science to it. It's pretty cool.
Was Fever Pitch based on a character? Because I know Fallon was doing like the Noma at the time,
Yeah,
but I don't know if that connected
could
to
have been.
Fever
Maybe
Pitch.
loosely. Yeah.
I was just saying, it's also like there's something so comforting, like knowing it's in New York, like people are there, they worked
Same
all
time.
week on it, it's the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like even if
an
none of the
institution.
sketches hit, like it's so my heart is so like warm watching.
Yeah.
People still die. Like people will die to work there. You know, it's these young comedians still want to be over
Oh,
there.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like it's like people want.
What?
No, but like they put so much into it, and that's still a dream job for so many people, and it's like the public loves to shit on it now, but it's okay. All these young comedians that's still where they want to
Shane
go.
Gill was saying, we all said to Shane, "This is the best thing that ever happened to you, dude. You get so much more publicity. It's gonna be good." And I think in the end we were right.
Yeah.
But he was like, "I would have liked to work for SNL.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been pretty fucking cool."
For sure.
Yeah.
I saw a video that said like SNL is really made for everyone, and I think that's what we forget sometimes is that if we don't find something funny,
There's some mom
there
laughing.
is someone out there that is laughing
Yeah.
at that just
Totally.
because you're not laughing. Like it is supposed to be for everyone, all different ages and whatever. Well, not what, but
We'll see
Yeah.
though. They did you see that Taylor Swift story with Lorne Michaels? That was pretty cool.
I saw that.
She shut down a harmless skit too.
Yeah.
It was making fun of her girl squad, and they basically spoofed the Bad Blood video where they're like walking and there's slow motion, there's explosions in the background, and she like wanted the whole thing ripped out of the episode, and Lorne Michaels said, "I don't negotiate with terrorists, Taylor." That's gangster.
Yeah,
And
and then she sent him a gift.
saying, "I hope
Yeah,
there's
and
no
then
bad
they
blood."
kept the sketch in, and then she.
I mean,
sent
when I
him a
saw
gift.
it, I was like, "This is
Yeah.
harmless." I can't believe that was the thing she.
when was that?
Credit to
When
him
she-
for like
right around that Bad
still
Blood
doing it.
era.
Yeah.
Like
know.
I'm like, he's old,
Yeah.
and for him to still be the guy that like is deciding what is or isn't funny.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
is
work.
Well,
kinda
I think he's about to
crazy.
retire, right? Because at least I've seen articles that have said like what happens to SNL. When
Yeah,
Lorne
what happens
retires.
when it goes?
He's 80.
Because it's
So it's gotta be
it'll
coming
be
soon.
very interesting. But it's crazy that he's still at that age and like yes, no, like
Right.
is the one that they
Hands
still
on like that,
still
yeah.
has to get their approval for because. The age discrepancy between him and like the writers is like
Right.
how they're like the writers is probably pretty crazy to be like how do I write a sketch that the young people are gonna love
That an
but Lauren
80-year-old man
also thinks
approves.
is funny and is gonna put on air.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
So-
responsibility by him, which I assume he takes very seriously.
Yeah,
like
totally.
to keep your ear to the streets and be like, all right, kids will find this funny. Or
Yeah.
20-year-olds will find this funny.
I think
Like,
his kids help him a lot too. Or yeah. He is-
his according to the movie, his wife helped a lot,
yeah.
which I didn't know.
Did you
That
guys
she was,
watch
like,
the
co-writer.
documentary with all the auditions? So they did a documentary where they showed a lot of people's auditions that were on SNL.
Yeah.
And you watch the auditions and you're like, how the hell did they get on? And they're watching themselves going, how did I get
Like
picked
they're
for
not
the
good,
show?
you mean?
No.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them
Interesting.
were not, like Pete Davidson's was awful. And he's watching it being like,
This is
how
terrible.
did I get picked? Like a lot of them like
Pete's
they-
always
yeah.
been kind of terrible.
Yeah, and there's also
But I
just
guess
no,
you just
there's
have
no
to-
crowd reaction. Like they don't
Yeah,
make noise,
I
they don't
know.
laugh, they don't do anything. Which just no matter what makes a funny joke not funny.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
even
Yeah.
even if you look back, that was a funny joke, but nobody laughed. When you're watching it back, you're like, ooh, that was not funny.
Yeah, I know.
But there must just be something about the person when they walk into the room,
Yeah.
like an aura or something, where they're like, we have to have them, and
Yeah.
then they turn out to be good.
I bet you it's more like we were just talking about Will Ferrell's audition. I think if you get up there and you're not nervous and you can deal with the fact that it's silent, I bet you that's more important than
Yeah.
the people.
Like, you just
if it was
keep
actually
going
funny,
and
it's like, oh,
going.
they know
Yeah.
what they're doing. Like,
It's
versus,
like One Direction's like when you actually look at their X Factor auditions, they're
So bad.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
so
Really?
bad.
It's
Yeah.
like it's actually like it's hard to listen to because it's so
Yeah.
bad.
Really.
Dude, I was
Yeah,
in a
they're not
bar.
so
Simon
good.
Cowell was the one who put that together, right? He
Yeah,
was like, yes.
and some of them
like-
came back like Liam came back a second time. His first one he didn't make it, and he like took 2 years and then came back and auditioned again.
No way.
And then they had like kind of clearly made him sort of the leader, and then it was Simon and Nicole Scherzinger who put them all together.
Really?
Yeah, and if you like Harry's audition is bad.
He's wearing like a little
Yeah,
scarf. that's
yeah.
just
Like Louis is like they just don't sound great.
But they knew
but like they're
something,
like, oh my
right?
god,
Like-
look how cute these boys are, and they're
Right.
trying, and there's something.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like aura or something when you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, one time I remember in like 5th grade there was like a talent show and it was like a Rihanna song that was like, I must say your aura is incredible. For some reason, like my friend had convinced me that aura was a bad word, so we bleeped aura. So which made it so much worse because it's maybe I must say your blank is incredible. And I always
That's
think about
fucking
this.
great.
There were like there was another time the aura came up and like it made it so much worse. I always think that one.
Your blank is incredible.
So you're like, that's way worse. Way worse.
Blank is great. Love is Blind Season 8 is out. Last episode was our Love is Blind edition. You saw us in the pods. I had my dogs out. I was laying upside down on the couch. I went full-blown Love is Blind. It's my favorite reality show on TV right now, and you can get hooked on it too. Season 8 has Madison, who just steamrolled through the whole cast. You had Dave. We've got the drama of, did this guy follow Taylor on Instagram prior to the pods? Which, to be honest, would be a serious breach of trust. If I thought that I was blindly talking to someone and they actually knew what I looked like and they knew all these things about me because they had followed me prior to the show, I'd be like, what is wrong with you, you absolute psycho stalker? The first 6 episodes are out. I am lucky enough that I saw a couple more. We're going to get into some drama with one girl who was maybe dating somebody prior to joining the pods. We got a couple that moves into a house, a building together where an ex lives. We got sister drama. We've got it all in this season of Love is Blind. It's Minneapolis, Minnesota. And right now the first 6 episodes are out with 2 more on the way. Every Friday, they release 2 more before we get to the finale. And then, of course, the reunion episode. So watch Season 8, Love is Blind now on Netflix with new episodes coming out every Friday.
I was thinking the other day about what generation do you think, not generation, what decade of your life will be the best, or will you be the best at? Ooh. And has it already happened?
Ooh, no, I don't think so.
Like what age? Like from your 20s to 30s, your 30s to 40s, 40s to 50s.
It's funny because you only you go back to listening to what older people like. I hear back what my mom says, what my grandparents say, like, and they always kind of are in the 30s, 40s range is kind of what they go back to. I mean, I turned 30 in September, and I already feel like 30s range is going to be the best.
That's
Ria, what are you,
like
24?
I'm actually 27 now. I'm going to be 28 in July. Crazy, I know.
You're still younger than I thought.
No,
You're not even 28 yet.
Oh, I'm like, wow, I can't believe like I'm going to be 28, and then I'm going to be 29. You know what I mean? Like it's just. But I sort of agree with Fran. Like
20s are so fun.
No,
but
right? But I like the 20s I'm in now.
Yeah.
So much more than my earlier
20s is a weird one because you go from like a kid to the end,
and
you're like kind of an adult.
I feel like I've grown up a lot. Like, you know what those jokes that people make, like, my frontal lobe has developed. Like, I truly feel like it has. Like, I feel so much better.
And you've been working and you get like some money in the bank.
Yeah.
You're just like,
right.
not, you can like live like comfortably.
When people say the college are the best 4 years, I would
so strongly disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's you can make arguments about much older, but even within your young years, I think 22 to 26 is way better than 18 to 22. When you have your own apartment, you have some money, you're kind of picking your friends as opposed to like you're living with like people you were just thrown into school with. You can do more like shit. You're traveling, all that stuff. To me, that was, at least for me, that was way. I mean, I guess if you go to like an awesome college, maybe it's different. But
when we were staying on UCLA campus and everyone was like studying in the lobby, I was like, oh my god, I forgot how much studying sucks. So, like, it's
School
4 years, and then you
blows.
can just do the same kind of partying just after without the studying.
Yes.
Right. I do remember people saying that, but I started working here when I was 19. So like I didn't have those 4 years of college.
You basically had college at Barstool.
Right.
Barstool
I literally went to college at Barstool.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I missed out on anything, if that makes sense. Like I'm not
The
like,
way you
oh
did it,
wow,
probably not, yeah.
I wish I was like
But
partying
I think
at college.
if you're like 18 and you like you go into like the family business, it's like construction or plumbing or something like that, I think you kind of miss out. You were kind of living a college life in a way.
I did
you know?
live a pretty cool life.
Yeah,
So
right.
It would be, you know.
It's really like sometimes I would visit my brother and sister.
Where'd you go to school?
I mean, I didn't finish either, but I started at Georgetown and jumped around after that. But like my brother went to South Carolina and then my sister went to Michigan State. And so when I would go visit them, I'd be like, okay, maybe this is what I like this is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe this is what I should have been doing. Like, and even after I left Georgetown, I kind of like kept a way of being there all the time. Like I was dating somebody that was still down there, and I had my really good group of friends who are still like my best friends now. And I would just go down there like once or twice a month and go out and like not do school.
You guys should do it this way. This way.
Yeah,
right?
like I was like still like there was a time where one of my guy friends who was like we were close, like not super close. He played football with all my other friends, and after like 6 months of me not being in school, one weekend we were talking about it, and he was like, "Wait, you're not
You're not
in
here?"
school?" They had no idea because I was there all the time. So I feel like I like kind of kept my toe in without having to do the whole school part.
That is the way to do it, girl.
Yeah, which was not great in the long run, but it was.
I kind of did that with some friends. Like I would just go to I didn't even go to the school. I would just hang out at their school.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Their friends would be like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm his high school buddy." Like,
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
been here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like,
This is so
I'm not going
mysterious.
anywhere, brother.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, none of my friends went to like big state schools like that either, though. So it wasn't even like I had anyone to visit to go do that sort of thing. So like, I never
did
even.
and I didn't, and I regret it. I'm like, oh, I should have utilized this way more. Like
South Carolina was.
Pabs is fake school.
Yeah. It was like, I remember the first time we went to a giant tailgate, and my brother's probably sophomore or junior. He was in a fraternity, and we were in like the frat lab before a game. And my dad, who went to Georgetown as well, like looked around and was like silent for 10 seconds. And I was like, "Are you okay?" And he was like,
This is it.
He was like, if me and my buddies went here, we wouldn't have made it. He was like, we would have all died. Like we would have been dead. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Like he was in awe of what he was seeing and the
You
way
take
it
shit
was
for
set
granted.
up and
Yeah.
everything. It was like, wow.
Is that a whole
Yeah.
pig in the corner?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He was like,
we're gonna eat it with our
"Holy
hands
shit."
later.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
exactly.
going to tell my kids, I'm going to give my kids a list of schools you're allowed to go to and make sure.
But all that
this
with, like-
dumb liberal art shit is.
I
not
can
go to
come
school
from
in
the other
Northeast.
side of it, where
But
like
college
it's
is gonna be so
fun,
different,
but
too, I
it's-
think.
I know, but yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't even know if college is going to be a thing. But I'm not even worried about when you're there. I'm worried about afterwards. Like, I hate not having any sort of like alumni thing to do. Like, go back for a game.
Yeah.
Go to the homecoming. Go to the ball. Whatever the fuck it is. I'm like, I don't want to do any of that.
I like not being part of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I don't need I don't need to be like, oh, here's my class ring.
Right.
You know?
No, I don't
thought-
need that, but I
No,
would like a
no,
team to
it's
root
fun.
for.
No, it's
I would
fun.
like
Yeah,
to
you're
be able
right.
to go to
I
a,
actually was
go to a
just-
rivalry
yes.
game.
I
like-
was just saying, like, with the teams thing, like, I was saying to Fran, I was like, should I just, like, now,
pick one? But you
now,
can't.
now after the Eagles won, I can't join. But, like, after they lost 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, I should have just joined
Mm-hmm.
and been like, okay, I'm now a huge Eagles fan. They lost, so it wouldn't have been as bad
Yep.
jumping aboard.
right to the
But
top.
now it's like, okay, well, Marty's like a Giants fan. It's like, okay, well, root for the Giants now. You know, and I'm
I
like,
don't have the same
but-
interest as someone I love.
it's like it's already bad enough that I was rooting for the Yankees with the Mets. You know, like I'm already starting to lean towards the Yankees. More, which is so bad. No, I know it's bad, but like my sister, the same thing because my brother-in-law is a huge Yankees fan, and me and my sister have talked about it. We're like, well, no, like we should just become Yankees.
You know what? Fine,
We should
go.
just become
No.
Yankees
It's not the
fans.
right choice.
You know what I mean? Like we gotta
since
just
the
become
90s,
this-
Derek Jeter ain't walking through that door.
we just gotta become Yankees fans at this point.
probably,
I remember
you're
the
right.
first time I wore like a Yankee shirt that was Marty's in my house, and my
Oh
dad
my
was
God!
like,
You did it in front of your father?
yeah, he was like, he just looked at me like, where did you get that? I was like, I honestly was
Shay ever
waiting
comes
for
home
his.
in a Yankee jersey, I'd rather come home with literally anything else in the world.
No, it was so bad.
This is my
because-
felon boyfriend. He's a Mets fan? Okay, fine.
yeah, well, like, because my dad and I used to watch a lot of Mets games together. Like, I
Isn't
was
the dog
a big,
named Fenway?
my R.I.P. The dog was named Fenway because the Red Sox ended up being the Yankees. That's how much my dad hates the Yankees. But I was a big Mets fan, and then I kind of fell. I always talk about this, like when I started working here, because people were like such big fans of things.
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't a fan enough.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So
I did, yeah.
my fandoms kind of died out because I was like, well, I'm not as big of a fan as everybody
Which
else.
sucks, by
so
the way.
like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I guess I don't even really care anymore.
Dude, I remember people saying that to me with the Islanders, and they were like, you're not like Frankie Borelli. I'm like, no fucking kidding.
Yeah, right.
No
And
one
then-
on the planet Earth
Yeah.
And then
about
you-
anything is like
yeah,
Frankie
and
Borelli.
then you
and the
feel like a
Islanders.
fake fan. You're like, well,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care that much.
Right.
So yeah, this past season with the Yankees, I was like, dang, I'm kind of like. Giancarlo Stanton's got a
heart.
huge ass. Like it was like hard not to talk about. It was like, really becoming a thing. I couldn't stop bringing it
Big
up on
Booty
our.
Stan.
Yeah, I was calling him Big Booty
like
Stan.
4 episodes in a row.
I was every time he'd come up with bad, I'd play like, I found you, Miss New Booty. Like I was really getting into it, and I was like, oh, this is bad. But then the Eagles, I was like, Fran, I should have jumped aboard a couple of years ago.
And also
I
just
could've
like really questioning her dad because her dad's like, oh, the Yankees, Eagles.
It was like my dad's a
Jesus.
Jets, Mets, Islanders. I do like
way
the
it was
Islanders.
meant to be.
I always root for the Islanders, and I should be
No.
rooting for the Mets. But honestly, like with Marty, like he cares the most about the Yankees more so than the Giants. So I'm like, okay,
your
I'll
marriage,
Yeah.
I suppose it all out.
The college, going back, like the college fandom is really fun. Like when Michigan State is really good, I jump on board with my sister.
Yeah,
Like it's like
Hell yeah.
those are the times when it is really fun. Like we've gone to games when they played the Garden and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I have my one Michigan State sweatshirt and my one South Carolina
Bring it out,
sweatshirt,
yeah.
and every time like there's one event that we're going to, I'm like, okay, here it goes, and I'm like, and I jump back in. Even I mean, Georgetown basketball is a joke, but like we'll go to
At one
games
point,
and
it was amazing.
yeah,
you know?
it's fun, but yeah, it's you kind of here it is crazy because there's just no way you are a fan, but then you don't want to be like the most psycho like all the time. My every year, I was like, oh, you don't do enough Eagles stuff. You don't do enough Eagles stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna like cry and scream and lose my shit on a stream. Like that's just not,
style.
you know,
Yeah,
like
that's
that's
how you
not,
are, then that's
you
how you
know,
are,
it's
yeah.
but it is that I think everybody has that. My parents grew up. My mom is a Giants fan, and like those early years when the Giants were like early 2000s, the Giants were good, and like they. I forget who it was or somebody came into that, like I don't know if it was me or my brother or something, some sort of Giants gear somehow found its way into the house, and my dad was like, take that outside. I was like, do not wear that in this house ever. So
Dude,
my
if
husband's
I-
a Jets fan, and I've reeled him in. I bought all this gear. We're going to the Super Bowl. I was like, there's a Eagles hat and shirt coming. I'm not going to be here, but pack it in your suitcase and come down to the game. And he like took a picture of the airport and sent it to our family group chat and was like, what have you done? He's like wearing his Eagles hat in the airport. I was like, yeah,
The
well.
things we do for love.
Yeah. He's like, I'll root for Mekhi Becton. I'm like, see, there you go.
Yeah. Foot in the door.
Yep.
The that what you were saying about sports, like fandom, which I completely agree with here. I think that also applies to big schools. Like when I got to
Yeah.
FSU, I was like, "Are you guys all fucking lunatics? Like
too much.
Everything's Seminoles." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Fucking
yeah.
chill out, you fucking weirdos." Like it feels if you're not part of it, if you weren't like raised
You're like,
in it.
I'm not going to paint my face,
Yeah.
but I will go watch
Yeah,
the game.
it's almost like if you were born into from alumni,
Yeah.
you more than if you went there.
Yeah.
because you grew up as a kid watching it and doing it. That's really where
Totally.
your fandom is.
But
born,
like the people who we think of, like when you think of having college like means you have college sports to root for, they don't have pro teams.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So like we all have like I would go at FSU. People be like, I don't know. I guess I like the Falcons. And I'm like, what? Like we're closer to Atlanta than we are to Miami.
Right,
Like,
it's like everyone's a Cubs fan. 'Cause
Jags
the Midwest, they're just
fans.
Yeah.
all-
It was like that's weird.
I have a Mets question. Were you happy about Juan Soto? No, because I have an answer. Like I have a response to that.
You think I should not be happy?
My dad is so mad. It's actually the craziest thing in the entire world. Kevin, you do not understand. My dad, like, legitimately, he argues with Marty about this because Marty's like, why are you not happy? Like, you're talking to somebody who lost Juan Soto. Like, why are you not happy? And my dad,
all
like,
the babies.
because he hates the Yankees so much,
Oh, wow.
is like genuinely like
That I love.
Like he's just like not happy about it. And honestly, I think it's the craziest thing in the world. Like
It
I'm
is,
like,
but I love
I
that
can't
take.
even like listen to it because I'm like, this is so insane that he hates the Yankees so much that he's mad
I'm
about
actually
like
with him. Like other players I've been like that, like
Yeah.
Marcus Stroman. I was like, I don't want Yankee guys, but once I was just
We
so
had
good.
that.
I'm
Mine's
like,
so good,
and we
and I'm
stole
like-
him from them.
Yeah,
It's like,
right. I thought my dad would be like hyped up, and he's
Yeah.
like, "No, they need other people. They need other people." I'm like, "What is going on?" Like, this.
That's a
no,
crazy
My
thing.
family,
They talk
my
about
family
this
had that
every
with Saquon a little bit when the
Yeah.
Traitors
I
happened
can
because
see
they were
that.
like, ugh.
Right.
Like,
You
for
spent
Saquon-
all this time rooting
yeah,
against
we're like,
him.
oh,
Right,
let's
that's
try
why-
to
I
run
mean,
I was
back, like, and then
motherfucking the
now
guy 2 months
everyone's eating
earlier.
our words,
Right.
but-
I hope you and your family die.
I think
And now
that's
right,
why
exactly.
I love
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
baby.
right.
Right. I think that's why my dad is like he's still not recovered. Like
Yeah.
if he obviously ends up doing really well, my dad's gonna
That
be like,
first
"Fuck
home
yes,
run
this
is
is
Yeah, yeah,
amazing."
totally.
It'll
It'll
be
change. It'll
fine.
change.
Yeah.
No, it's the craziest thing running right now in my family. Like
That is-
when
that
we
is
go
next
home and
level.
we have to hear about
God, I
how
love
he's
him.
not happy about Juan Soto.
I remember when I found out the dog was named Fenway, I was like, this, because there's a select group that is, every Mets fan hates the Yankees, but then there's like Yankee haters,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like,
Yeah, that
and
makes
those
you
are my
wearing the jersey so much
people.
worse.
It was
I
a
said that makes you
T-shirt,
wearing
you
the jersey so
know.
much worse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
it was a T-shirt. I slept in it.
You're crazy.
Like he's also like, okay, now you're wearing his clothing coming home. You know, like when we first started dating. Like, he's like, all right, now you're wearing his clothes in my house, right?
What, did I like
I
Marty?
never thought about that.
Oh,
That is
they
weird.
love.
Yeah, he's the
Like,
best.
I mean, the best thing for my dad is just like, first of all, being able to joke around with somebody,
Yeah.
and obviously, like Marty could joke around about anything, and also sports. Like, if he could sit there and just watch a game,
Yep.
literally any game. Also, my dad loves gambling. Like,
You know.
they love the casino.
Your mother too?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
funny. That's
no,
great.
you don't understand. We were in Florida
I
last
love
week.
this family.
No, we were in Florida last week, and my sister and I, we went for a walk around the neighborhood, and we were talking, and my sister was like, I asked Dad if he wanted to go to the casino later, and he never answered my text. And I was like, oh, that's weird. We walked back into the house, and my dad is dressed. Like, he looks nice. And I said, oh, where are you guys going? And he said, oh, we're running to Baba's, which is my other grandpa. I call my grandpas Nano and Baba, and it confuses people. But my Baba also has a condo there, but we were staying at my Nano's. He goes, oh, we're going to Baba's. And I was like, dressed like that? And he just like started smirking. And I was like, are you going to the casino? He was like, do not tell Nano we're going to the casino. And so my other grandfather, very Italian, they left, and he's like, where are your parents? And I was like, oh, they went to Baba's. They had to fix something. What did they have to fix? And I was texting my parents like, you have to get home. He's questioning me like he has a flashlight in my face. And then they just sent a picture winning. My mom won $1,000 on the slots. I was like, what the hell? So they like love gambling. So whenever we go to my house in Long Island, my dad's like, Maddie kid, come here. What are we betting on? And they just like sit together, and they'll just throw bets in and watch whatever random game is on. Like, does
That's
not matter if
great.
they're rooting for anybody. So
Dude,
yeah, it's great.
dating a girl from an all-girl family is the easiest to win the dad.
Oh, because he's like,
Dude,
I've been
Well, I
waiting.
have a brother.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember I was in high school and I dated a girl who only had sisters, and the dad would he'd be like, "Hey, John, what's so and so batting this year?" And I would just know.
Know
'Cause
it.
It was an era of my life when I just knew that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
like, "This is great.
Yeah.
This is just great, Dad."
That is my dad. Like, he'll ask Marty like a sports question, and he just knows it off the top of my head, and he's like, you just know sports. Like, he's like, I love it, you just know it. But I do remember like when we first started dating and like they met for the first time, my dad, because I think people like hear like Italian family, like they expect the dad to be like, oh, date my dad was like, listen, I'm not the kind of dad that's going to be like, you're dating my daughter. He's like, I don't care. He's like, whatever, as long as you're nice, you treat her
Yeah.
well, we have a good time, I don't care.
Yeah.
He poured him a drink, whatever, because he told him this story about how my nana like tried to like intimidate him,
Yeah.
and he was like, I didn't like that at all.
No.
So like my dad's just like not
Yeah,
that kind of guy when it comes
dads
to
who
that.
like show up to the door with a gun.
Yeah,
and
like-
make you take prom photos with a gun.
No,
and
my
shit.
dad just like wants another friend. Like he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
we can hang out.
Like, yeah, there's like it's all demographics and shit,
Mm-hmm.
but like people like our parents are just like, I hate my wife and I hate these kids and I just want someone to hang out with. You know what I mean? Like
They just-
like little things like that where it's just like it's way different vibe of like,
I joke about that with we talked about on the show with Taylor Swift on why like when everyone was like, oh my God, her dad, he's in all the Chiefs gear, he was an Eagles fan, the whole thing. And I'm like, I don't think everyone's underestimating. Yes, Taylor does have a brother, but all of Taylor's like recent boyfriends have been these like British
Yes.
actors. Like they're all
relate
British,
to
their
them at
music. And he's probably like, I hate these guys. Like, and then like Travis Kelce comes in, he's like, they're talking about football, like whatever, and he's like, yes. He's like, I will wear every Chiefs shirt you give me. Like,
they're from like Western Pennsylvania.
Yes,
right?
like
they're fucking.
And and Scott, I think Scott Swift like played college football. Like he's a big
really?
guy. Like So I think like he probably Maddie Healy, Joe Alwyn, they're coming through the door. He's like, ugh, like
you want to talk about normal people or whatever the fucking whatever the other one he did is.
Right, and I'm like, so I'm like, he's probably no matter what, they're like, oh, okay, he's gonna abandon his Eagles fandom. I'm like, yeah, he is. Yeah, he's like, you know, it's been years of him dealing with these other guys. He's probably
he almost
like,
had to abandon his citizenship. He's happy to do the Eagles.
No, also like Marty gets to do a lot of cool things with sports guys that my dad finds to be really cool. So like he just went to Arizona to do spring training with the Rockies. Like they suited him up and everything, and he did like a full day of practice with them. And my dad's like, he's just laying there. He's like, this was my dream as a kid. He was like, oh my God, he's got to be so nervous. Send me pictures, send me videos. Send me pictures and videos of what he's doing. Like, it's just.
I love it. I love that.
It's amazing.
They need a show.
No, oh my God, it would be amazing. Well, it's also because, like, we both are from Long Island, and we both. Like Italian, he's Italian and Irish. We're Italian. Somebody asked me that the other day. That's why I'm clarifying, because people don't realize his last name's not Mush, which is another thing. Like people thought my new last name was gonna be Mush. It's not.
Maria
it's
Mush.
Cahill. But I honestly think I should start by Maria Mush.
Yeah, Maria Mush is so good.
Cahill's not gonna work either.
No, it's like
I can't do that. I can't say that.
Well, I'm gonna keep my last name like professionally what it is now, but I'm gonna change it legally to Cahill. So people were asking. I was like, oh, he's Italian and Irish. But weirdly enough, like his dad grew up next to my dad's cousins. Like we all just figured that, and they like have pictures together, like growing up. Like it's so weird how like
Did you guys know each other growing up?
No, we didn't. But he played baseball with like my best friend's brother. So we have a lot of like mutual friends. Weirdly enough. So yeah.
Wow. I say to her that I think the two of them like would have found each other without Barstool. Like I think if you like take the Barstool away, like they.
Oh, look at her smiling.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way.
That's a good. Yeah. Save that for the speech.
No, I feel the same way. I feel like no matter what, we would have found each other.
Yeah,
I would love to see like if we talk about like the one stats you could see at the end, like if you could pick one person and see how many times you were in the same room without knowing each other. Like I love that thought.
Yeah, I've done that before.
In the city.
In the city, it's crazy. I like was going through old videos recently, and I met Joe, my husband, in 2017. And I was like I'm looking at these videos from summer of 2016, and I'm at LPR. I'm like, I have a video of the crowd, and I'm like, I slow it down. I go. I was like, oh my God, Joe's in this video.
Really?
Yeah, he was like on the dance floor.
It's like,
no, it's not crazy.
And
like it's not crazy at all. And we have a lot of mutual friends that like when we met, we were like, this is so crazy we haven't met. But I'm like, because he was literally in the thumbnail as I was going through my Google photos, and I was like, wait, this is 2016. I didn't even know him then.
I mean, when you think about it, it's always like it's such a big city, but.
You hang out with your people.
You hang out with your people, and it's also like, you know, people hang out in the
same
Village
places.
and Murray Hill, and so you're going to the same bars, same clubs, and you're the same age. You go to the same beach bars in the summer. Like you're
People
probably
Magazine
around
just
the
did
same.
a whole article about
the bar to fall in
House.
love at.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like I have 3 friends that have all met their husbands
They're
at
not
the
wrong.
Parker House,
They're
and
not
they were
wrong.
like, how come they didn't call me? Like my friend Elizabeth was like, my fucking dog's name is Parker.
There's a lot.
I did send it to Fran because of her and Joe. And she was like, it's a touchy subject. Like a lot of I was like, never mind.
No, a lot of my friends were like, we should, like my other friends, they had their wedding last year, like their combined, they'd been made like a combined logo of their initials, but they did like the Parker House, like green, like font and everything. Yeah. And they were like, I was like, yeah, it's, everybody.
Dude, Parker House
has got it for a lot of people.
Before it really blew up was.
Yeah.
It's the best. Now I don't know what it's like now, but then there was a period of time.
The last time I went was a few years ago when I was like, this is it. This is it.
Captain Cons blames me.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest.
He sent me the article saying, you're off the hook now. Now that People Magazine talked about it. I blame them.
Last time I went was this summer, and we left pretty quickly. I'm not gonna lie.
Was it mobs? Well, it's also hard. I mean, a place like that now for anybody who has a little bit of fame at Barstool is going to be almost unbearable.
Yeah, and it's just 20. Like it's
young.
Yeah, it's like 20, 22, 23-year-olds.
Yeah,
Listen,
like,
if you're
you know?
not like
Yeah.
never in a billion years, unless I'm at like a wedding, I'm not gonna go to a bar right now and like dance in a basement.
No.
I'm not doing that.
I'll go
and
on-
if you're not doing that, don't go to the Parker House. You
I'll
know
go
what I mean?
on
It's like,
Sundays.
yeah,
Parker House
where
on
it's
Sundays is
chilled.
great.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
porch maybe,
Yeah.
eat a little bit, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's being like in the sweaty basement with people like spilling fucking tequila on
No,
you.
no.
I'm also-
The first time you go back when you're down there and you're like, this
God's
is sad,
basement.
but I have to accept that this is over for me. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
sad. My friends
Dude, I mean,
feel
we
how we were
refer
like,
to it as
you know
God's
what?
basement.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I remember going down and be like, "There's no God here.
Right, like,
There's
that's
no
it.
God in this
Yeah,
place at
that's
all."
it. Yeah.
I remember hearing about it from Fran for the first time because she was obviously going there for a long time before I ever went. And then when I discovered it, she was kind of getting over
Yeah.
it. And then now
So it's not the same,
Yeah,
yeah.
but there are some other places I love there, but we kind of had a similar thing happen. I want to say it was this past fall or summer. It was me, Marty, Keegs, and Tommy went to Hoboken. And we live in Jersey City. So I love going to Hoboken, like restaurants and whatever. But
Hoboken's
I
great.
now learned the bars in which I am welcomed at this age and no longer welcomed.
Yeah.
Like
Completely.
we walked into a bar and Kelly and I looked at each other and we said, we got to get the fuck out
Yeah.
of here. Like genuinely like looking around at all like the little boys
Yeah.
in there, like
Children,
They
literally
It happens
literally
so
look
fast. Like
it
you're
happens-
like, wait, how did I just age 30 years
No, right.
somehow? Like what just happened that all these kids look like they're 16?
right. No, truly. I was like, why do they look so young? Like this is
And in Hoboken,
so
they
bizarre.
are underage.
I know.
Really
I
makes it
remember
worse.
the Madison.
You're like, you actually are 18.
The Madison Uptown was like, I think they used to have a rule. It was 25 and up.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
so
you
yeah.
can't even get in if you're young. I remember when I was living there out of college, my buddy took home a girl who was 25, and we were probably 22, I guess, whatever. And it was like, I was like, does she have kids, bro? Like, I was like, what? A
Yeah.
25-year-old
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
home with one of us? Like, that's
Yep.
crazy. And now it's like, oh my God.
Right.
you're-
I remember
you're child.
being like from 19 to 21 and hearing about bars that had like an age limit, like 23 and up or 25 and up, and me being like, ew, why would I
that.
even want to go there?
Oh,
and
it's
now,
brilliant. I think it's
and
smart.
I think it's the smartest idea
Yeah.
ever now. I'm like, wow,
Totally.
yes.
Yes, that's my kind of scene.
Yeah.
For real.
Big time.
Have better sex with Blue Chew. That's the sale. That's the pitch. That's it right there. Do you want to have good sex? Yeah? Here's the way to do it. Blue Chew. It's the original sexual performance enhancing tablet. So while everyone else is, taking pills or using creams or whatever, Blue Chew has you covered with the original chewable tablet to make sure that you last longer and are stronger and just have better sex. It's something that growing up, you used to worry about it. I'm not going to be good at sex, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to, try to mind over matter on this one. No, not anymore. We have a medical cure thanks to Blue Chew. Tablets that are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door. You now have a something to turn to when you're not good in bed. You used to just have to cross your fingers and hope for the best. Maybe you get a little liquid courage. Now we actually have prescribed medicine that will help you perform better. And you don't have to get up and go to the doctor. You don't have to wait in a waiting room, have an embarrassing conversation face-to-face. You go online. You can do the doctor's visit digitally. Not digitally. What's the word for it? What's the word? Yeah, you can just meet on Zoom. Whatever. You can, no awkward conversations, no waiting line. You just go online, put it virtually. That's the word. Virtual doctor's meeting where you just basically say, hey, I stink at sex and I need my dick to work better. And they go, here you go. It's your Blue Chew. Right now, you can get harder and discover more options at bluechew.com. And a special deal for our listeners. Right now, you get your first month of Blue Chew for free when you sign up right now. Details and important safety information are available right now at bluechew.com. Get your first month free. And thank you to Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
This weekend, I had an older person scene where we didn't go to bars. We just took mushrooms. And I had the worst, best trip of my life. Like,
Were you out in public or like you were at home?
No. We were in Vermont.
Okay, okay.
Like I just had a ski house kind of deal.
Yeah.
And they made everyone violently ill immediately.
Oh no.
But it was.
So that's kind of funny though.
But it was. But
Yeah,
we were.
I could see everyone else being miserable and John just being like, "This is great."
It was so funny because we were like fine. It was bad. We were getting violently ill.
Yeah.
but we would be fine in the living room. So it would be like we'd be like calling dibs on bathrooms, but we were like,
It's like this Family Guy.
like we were like laughing
Yeah.
about it because we were like, this sucks, but at least it sucks together.
You're just
Right.
like, I'm next.
Yeah, and then you have a story after, and you're like, that was miserably funny.
Dude, there was one point. It was like 3 a.m. on Friday night, so Saturday morning, and I was ill. We'll say it was food poisoning symptoms, and there was,
Always.
Yeah.
there was one point.
John throwing up, shocking.
where I was in the bathroom, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was just sitting there like this, and my face was numb, and it felt so good that I was like rubbing it, and I had wings, and I could feel them. Like I could feel like
Wait, this was the next morning?
so I
Yeah.
took them like Friday night, and so it was
Okay.
like Friday morning or Saturday morning, and I had like dragon wings, right? And I could feel.
Just had him tucked behind you.
No, they were swinging.
Oh,
They were,
shit.
and
No, Fran, they were swinging.
Oh shit!
And
No.
I could feel.
I was about to take off.
I could feel the wind. I could feel the.
No, it's
And,
gonna be gross.
and I was just sitting on the toilet like this, and I was like, any other location, this would be fucking awesome.
I can't be like out on the mountain. I can't be in a
Because then if you
field.
get up, it ruins. You're like, these wings are gonna go
Right,
away.
Like I have my head in my hands, and I was like, boy, this would be fucking sick at any other moment. Like I could feel the wind hitting my feet. It was unbelievable. It was so sick. But I was also so incredibly sick.
Was it just like bad mushrooms? Like
I guess so, yeah. But it was like people were coming out, and there was a mix of like couples and things like that. So it's not people you're like comfortable being sick around. Like it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
and people were coming out like laughing though. Like feels like my ears are bleeding. I was like, but I looked in the mirror, I can see they're not, but it feels like it. And then one friend was just sitting in the corner doing a puzzle the whole time. They didn't get sick. They just
They're just locked in. Absolutely locked in on a puzzle.
That was fun though. It was a good time.
That sounds absolutely awful.
No,
Everything
wait.
about that
Have
sounds
you done
awful.
shrooms? Do you use shrooms?
Yeah, but not like at that.
Yeah.
Were you guys eating like actual mushrooms?
Actual mushrooms,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But they
The
were
little
like
chocolate bar.
Right,
No.
I don't like the chocolate bar. I only like the strict mushrooms.
Which is probably bad because it's like more of the fake shit.
Yeah.
But and like that's like you're like
Natural
straight from the
stuff.
ground.
It
Like,
was,
yeah.
I mean,
But-
it was the second it entered my system. Like I like took one bite of it, and I was like, "Whoa, my face is going numb." Like it was immediate.
I was
Nope.
being just back in Florida was one of the times I had legitimately an awful time like that. Like took shrooms by the pool near my grandfather's house. Like they have like a clubhouse, whatever. And I took some at the pool there, and there's just a bunch of old people there. So it's like not really the place to do it, but I was just gonna lay out and whatever. And there's like a lake behind the pool area. And I just started violently throwing up by the lake, but everything looked so gorgeous at the same time, you know. So it was like funny and amazing, but also terrible, like that kind of experience, like violently puking, but like wow, it's so green here, like it's so gorgeous.
It is nice. Like I honestly, it was a great time. I'm still sick, but it was a fucking.
I don't feel great now.
Still have the repercussions.
Were they like the mushrooms we did in Amsterdam?
No, they weren't wet. They were like dried
that-
mushrooms.
that
Dude,
made you
I
puke
bought them
instantly,
in
but that
fucking
pizza.
DC legally.
Dude, everything's legal now. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, like I
Yeah.
bought them. So we had when Francis and I did shows there. They're in the hallway, like from the green room to like the comedy room, was just a table of weed, and I didn't even know if weed was legal in DC at the time, and it was just like vacuum sealed bags of weed and mushrooms, and I was like, who do we talk to about getting this? And some woman popped up, she's like, me, and I was like, is this like a legal thing? Like, what's it? Because it was just like on a fold out table, and she said, yeah, no, it's like, well, kind of a gray area. And I was like, well, that's
Dude,
cool.
the
Like, I love living in the
lengths
gray
we
area.
used to go
By
to get
request?
weed
Like
is,
how
like,
does that
crazy.
table even get set up?
I don't. It was called District Elixir. I still remember because I had to
Yeah,
Venmo him.
This is the gray area.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it was so it's just actually it was actual. But here's the deal: when I usually take mushrooms, I usually take stems because I've been told by the first Sherpa I ever did by my friend, the first Sherpa I ever did mushrooms with, that like he was like stems are body highs,
yeah.
caps are head highs, and I
what's
always
like
like
the giggly one?
what's that?
What's like the giggly one?
I don't know. I've always had great experiences on stems. I feel I'm just like grooving and stuff like that. But this is my first time. But this woman was like, she's like, no, that's kind of an old wives' tale. Like it's not real. You can eat whatever part of the mushroom you want. It's.
I've always thought that. I feel like that's a mental thing.
Yeah.
And it might be, but I took this weekend my first time taking caps.
Fucked you up. Yeah.
And everyone took caps, and I was like, again, it was fun though. It was just like
You're the only freak who would think that's fun.
No,
I
we
guarantee
all
if you
had
asked
fun.
the rest of your friends,
I get
like you
what
would
you're
sign up to
saying,
do that
though.
again.
Like sometimes
Yeah,
when
it's a story, but-
yes, when bad things are happening
Oh,
or like
yeah.
you don't feel good or there's a mishap, I'm like, this is gonna be good for the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like
Well,
I'm just
that's
like,
where
well,
we're
at least
different,
I'll
though.
have something to
Normal
say for the
people
podcast.
don't get that.
No, I
They're just
get
like,
it.
this sucks and it's bad.
Yeah.
We're like, well, I get to profit off my misery.
It's so bad. I'm like, well, at least I'll have a story for Monday.
Yeah. No, I mean,
But there's
that's...
all like even with yes, 100%. But also like there's something about just like being.
If you
in the
ask
suck.
your normal friends, do you want to do that again? They would say no. You'd probably say yes because you're a freak.
Everyone would say yes. Because I know, because Saturday they were like, "Should we take?"
We
it?
did.
I actually was one. I was like, "I'm probably gonna hang off." No one else did, but it was proposition.
That's truly crazy. If you do that.
It's like
That's
like, you can
nuts.
probably put those back in the drawer for
See, that's
at least a
what-
week.
To go back to your question about like what decade, like I feel like in your 30s and 40s is when you're gonna have these like. I mean, listen, everybody's partying and doing drugs when you're young too, but it's different when you're like mid to late 30s doing mushrooms with your friends.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a very different vibe than when you're like partying when you're younger.
Yeah.
You know,
My answer is the 70s, by the way.
you're waiting for your 70s.
You're waiting for your
Yeah, for you.
70s.
I am going to dominate if I'm alive.
If you're alive, I guess
if I
that's pretty
last
ambitious,
the
bro.
70s.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. I can see it already, man. I'm gonna be a great like 73-year-old.
I could see that.
It's funny.
I
I
can see
remember
that.
last time you came on KFC Radio, you were 25, and you were like saying you were like talking about engagement. And I was probably like, I'll probably get engaged at 25 too. I'm 25 now. I'm like, it is. not
Girls are
happening
crazy.
soon.
You guys are crazy. How much you're.
I was so
rushing.
dead set. I was like, I'll probably.
That's my life plan as well. Nice. Good
I
to
was
see it.
watching Summer House last night,
Oh, yeah.
and Paige DeSorbo was like, "Yeah, no, you just like you get a job and you get married, and you have a baby when you're 30. Like that's just
Yeah.
how it works." And her point was like, she's like, "I realized that life just happens."
Yeah,
Yeah.
her whole point of view
you
on that
can't-
just changed
Have you seen
dramatically.
like female therapists or like therapists have like been like, thank you, Paige DeSorbo. You've single-handed like everyone is bringing up Paige DeSorbo in their therapy, being like, I listened to
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
like
Good for
episode,
her.
and she made me feel so much better about
Yeah.
like
Right.
being whatever in my 30s.
You know what I love about your guys' show, at least from what I've seen of it? You're not like boy crazy, like talk about fucking relationships and like the way I think a lot of female podcasts are always so focused on like
Yeah.
finding a man, having a man, getting married, all that. I feel like you guys are just like talking about pop culture and shit. And it's
No.
not-
Yeah, well, we talk about our lives, but I
Yeah.
feel like we both
Never
like
Well, no, you're
have-
talking about your
no,
life.
but
but, like,
we've
like,
never
like,
like
we
made
have
a
a-
super
we have a
hyper
relationship
focus on that.
expert on our
Yeah,
show
yeah,
that
yeah.
teaches you how to get a man.
Right,
That's
and
not
like
what
we
the
never
fuck are we
did
doing?
that before, and like we're both like in stable relationships, so it's
Funny
also,
how that
like,
works. If you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
consume yourself
Yeah.
with finding
And, like,
someone, how you actually end up
even
finding someone.
When I was single, like I didn't talk about any of the things I was doing or whatever because it was like that wasn't the focus of the show.
Yeah, right. But
So-
I think that's a good thing. I mean, I know there's probably a lot of shows that do really well because
Yeah.
girls do relate to that, but it's like, I don't know.
But there's
I think
also
it's kind of
the
like
There's
girls
like
that
everybody
relate
has
to-
everybody has their thing, you know. Those
Yeah.
like certain if you want like relationship and dating advice, there's plenty of
podcasts to go to.
podcasts to go to,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And we'll do it a little bit here or there, but it's not
Yeah.
enough. Like
We're not like handing out
Yeah,
advice. We
yeah,
just
no.
Well, that's
talk
the main
about
thing.
our
It's
lives.
like
yeah.
even if
Yeah.
like when someone is like telling you how to get a man or something, it's like,
Yeah.
well, you found one,
Yeah.
Right.
doing what you do or how you are. How the fuck can that apply
Well,
to someone
that's
else?
why
It's
sometimes
crazy.
when people ask advice in general, whether it's like relationships or even just like people will be like, "Oh, what do you do to work out?" or this or that, and I'm like, not everything is going to be the same for every person. So you kind of just have to like figure out what works for you. You could take advice from all different kinds of people, apply it to your life and see which one fits. You
Right,
know, that's
right,
why like
right.
I'm not like do this and do that
Yeah.
because like I don't know for sure
Like,
if that's
this
going
worked
to work
for me.
This
Yeah.
worked for me.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if it's going to work for you, type of thing.
I feel like
Yeah.
what works best for me is like I'll picture my like cool older self, and then like every time I like second guess myself and be like I can't do that, then I'll just be like, but she could do that, and I'm her. So like, if she could do it, like, my transitive
I love how
property,
your
we
brain
could
works.
both do
Dude,
that.
that's full Michael Scott. That's full Michael Scott when he's talking about how he doesn't care about money. And he's like, look, at the end of my life, when I'm on my yacht, I'm not going to be worried about this.
money.
Obviously, money wasn't an issue. He's like,
When you're in your
I think he goes,
70s.
my comedy album sold so well.
You watch the Traitors, right?
Yeah, love.
Are you caught up?
Love.
Love,
Yeah.
yes.
Appointment television.
Fucking, they had it in the last episode that Sam, who has been fucking wallpaper, bro.
Yeah.
Every time that guy came on the screen, I go, who is this guy? Who is he on? Why is he on the show? He has been a zero the whole time. And then he had it and was
Yep.
like, what was Alan wearing? And they just let it go.
Fucking Tom Sandoval.
Well,
Fucking Tom Sandoval. Tom Sandoval is retarded.
Tom
Tom
Sandoval
Sandoval has
is
no brain.
Tom Sandoval.
Really one of one.
He really
It
is.
makes for
and-
unbelievable
yeah,
entertainment,
it's-
but
yeah.
and I'm sure they edit it in a certain way. But
Yeah,
when,
I
every
mean,
time
that-
Brittany
that-
is like, Tom
that
Sandoval
table,
is
like
so
that
dumb.
table conversation also felt edited too to make it seem like they completely dropped it after. When I'm like, there's no way,
that's gotta come
because I
back
was
up.
saying to Ria, we were talking about it yesterday, that I think that everybody, and you can see like they don't put it in the episodes, which is weird, maybe just short of time, but like the extras that they put out on social and stuff, they show the people that are banished or killed find out who the traitors are.
Yeah.
And like every single person is like, duh, Danielle, like, duh. You know, so it's like, I feel like they almost are all thinking we know Danielle's a traitor. We'll like save that to be like our big last one. Like, we know, we had, like, that's in the
I mean,
bag.
she's been playing bad.
You know
so,
what I'm
like,
saying? I think they're all like, that's in the
must be
bag.
cutting it out,
So
yeah.
let's like just wait and try and get the other ones because we know Danielle's one.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely
I mean,
edit it.
if
They
you
edit it
just
to
said
make
right
these
there in
people
that
look more
moment-
stupid also because they need like
a
the
show.
suspense
Yeah,
to
yeah.
build that
But I
they
mean,
don't
if,
know
if,
who
if
it
you
is.
just said, everybody take out a piece of paper and write down what Alan was wearing,
yeah.
and you just go
Yeah.
through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be fucked.
No,
I
yeah.
think Fran's right. I think they must be cutting a lot of conversations out
Totally.
and whatever that they are talking about Danielle, and they just don't want people to know it yet because it's so obvious. But
The fake crying.
No,
and
it's
everybody,
so over
every
the
single person
top.
is like, I think Danielle played a bad game. We all like when they leave, it's like, yes, you guys all knew Danielle was a traitor. Like,
Yeah.
listen, they cut things out of reality shows, okay? I know that they do.
Yep.
Dude, I loved when you
Yep.
when you guys had Boston Rob on, and he was like, "So you guys go to a hotel at night, right?" And you're like, "No," and he's like, "For Boston Rob to be like, that's fucking sick. Like, they're
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
sick
yeah.
and sadistic. That's
Wait, he's on Surviving?
Yeah, he
Yeah. When he found out that
watched-
they didn't go, that it was 24 hours.
Yeah, he
he's like,
thought-
we always go like home
Well,
to
that
a,
was one thing.
Really?
That
well,
was one
maybe,
thing that
not Survivor. Survivor
no,
on
he
the
d-
island. You're
Yeah,
living
no,
on the island.
no,
But
no.
Like in
they-
Traitors,
Traitors,
they don't
you go
sleep
home
in
to
the
a
In
hotel.
house.
Traitors, they go in the hotel. He thought Surviving Barstool that we all go home at the end of the night. So he was like, "Wait, you guys are sleeping in the offices?" Yes, and that was one thing that I was like, I wish they would have showed that more. That like, there's obviously camera footage from the cameras that are all over the place in that office of us roaming the halls at 3 a.m, not being able to sleep, or like.
Did they tell you that you were being filmed in your bedroom?
Yeah, they
okay.
did.
I was gonna say when I saw something like that above, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
because
No, they did, but they were like, "Hey, we probably won't use it that much, like, cause like we're getting changed in there."
I was gonna
like,
say, so
whatever.
are there like cameramen who just like watched everybody get changed? That's a little
I gotta
fucking
be
weird.
honest, by the end of the week, I didn't fucking care where I was
Yeah.
changing at all. And I was just changing in that room. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. Like,
Right.
not like fully, but like my pants, I'd be like, okay.
That's kind of fucking weird, right?
No,
Yeah.
it is, but like, they told us, and it was my doing, like, to go change in the bath. Like, for the most of the time, I would change when I went to the bathroom or the shower.
Right, but by the
like,
end,
I
you're like, fuck
remember
it.
one night specifically, I got undressed, like, I took my pants off in there, and then I thought to myself, okay, well, a camera just saw me do that, whatever. Like, I was like, whatever. I'm in underwear, like, it's like wearing a bathing suit. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
have my whole top off or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I think people were confused because they didn't show much of like the going to sleep. Like there were a couple of funny moments that weren't in there of like one day Dave walked into our room when like our lights were still off and me and Mooby were sleeping together in the same room. And it was right after Mooby told Taylor Lewan like our whole plan, and I like went to Dave and I was like, she's telling Taylor Lewan like I don't know, she keeps telling people everything. And then he walked into the room and Mooby was like still kind of asleep. And he goes, Mooby, you figure out how to play the game yet? Or are you just going to go chicken Caesar salad the whole time? And I literally lost. And she goes, Dave, I'm still sleeping. And I was like, how was that not in there? Like,
Yeah,
you know, like
that's
such a
crazy.
funny moment.
Yeah.
But I guess they're filming 24/7, so it's like hard to pick out.
So I
unless
wonder-
someone were to go tell them, hey, this funny moment happened.
Yeah.
And like Austin was filming
I
too,
wonder
but
how
it's
much
like,
they missed though. Because I asked them about that. When you have, especially towards the end, when each person has a cameraman, you have like 72
Yeah.
hours times 12 people or whatever.
There's just a lot.
There's no way they go
have
through
to
all
make
that.
They have to make like an executive decision. They're like, hey, anything that was filmed when like everyone's
Just
getting
sitting
ready and getting
around.
ready and
Yeah.
going to bed, just toss it.
Yeah,
Right.
and I get
You
it though. Like your film, like they did such an incredible job putting together what they had. Like really such an amazing job. But there obviously was some stuff that like we all look back on. We're like, well, that wasn't in there, and that wasn't in there, and that wasn't in there.
But that's
and I know
like-
that happened, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that happened
I
because then
know.
you don't want to
That's
like.
the rub of reality
It is
TV.
what it
That's
is.
why
Yeah.
you really have to get to a point, and it's very, very hard. But you have to get to a point where you're like, I'm an actor on a show. It's almost
yeah.
like
Right,
you're
it's like when if an actor is a villain in a movie, they don't go home at night like upset.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Right.
I'm a bad guy.
You just, no,
It's
you
almost
accept
like
it.
that.
You're like,
it really is.
we're doing a reality show. We cover reality TV. We know how this fucking works. Like,
But I
it
will
is what
say
it
this.
is.
I will say this. It was crazy how much the initial feedback from everyone who worked here was Ria killed it. Her speech was amazing. She earned it, and everyone was happy and everyone was proud. Everyone here thought that and said that.
100%.
I want people to really know that.
Oh, the text
Like,
that I received. After,
I remember being like, this is going to be Ria's like crowning moment, and it was nothing but a headache for you. That
No,
sucks.
I mean,
that part fucking
it
sucks.
is-
And I
it
don't
is
know.
what it is.
You
I
can't
think
control the
people-
audience and shit.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
you can't control the
I
audience.
don't know, man. That
what happened
sucks.
after that finale was, or whatever was filmed, like the speeches and everything. The way that people were texting me and hugging me, like
Right.
after that, they were like, "That was fucking incredible." Dave literally patted me on the back when I sat back down. Okay, which wasn't in it. Like people were like, "Text, oh my god, I'm so happy." Da 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 da. Then the audience reaction happens, and then everybody starts changing their tune publicly.
That's what's
But-
fucked up. Is
but
they all base
not-
it on the other,
like
the
publicly, but
audience.
then like
Yeah.
inner, they're still like, "Oh, is it blah blah?" And I'm like, your initial reaction.
Why'd you
isn't-
vote for me? Why
isn't-
did you vote this way or
isn't
that way? It's like-
matching like,
Yeah.
And I think obviously people see how the audience reacts, and then they go, "Oh well, maybe that's how I should react," or "I didn't think of it like that," which is fine. It is what it is. Like you can never predict how the audience is going to react to literally anything. But the reaction to the people in the office that day, months before it aired, was like,
Amazing.
"You fucking crushed it.
Yeah.
That was amazing."
Yes.
La, da, da,
Win
da,
for
da.
the good guys.
Yeah, like they
win
were
for
like,
the good guys.
"We're so happy we
Yeah.
voted for you." Like, da, da, da,
I was
da.
stunned. That,
Yeah,
I mean, I
it
guess
is what
I'm not
it is, though,
stunned,
but
it's like
No, I was
I
not
just
surprised.
like the people, for the people who, I don't know, if you didn't like Ria or you didn't like the way the show played out, just know that everyone involved felt a certain way until it aired.
What
Yeah.
was the audience, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh,
Oh, John.
Oh my god.
oh God. I mean,
Horrendous.
Like, worst.
Because of
Like-
the Paris. You remember you said something about Paris, like they thought you spent it or something like that.
Oh,
Well,
that was
there's
just-
crazy conspiracy theories and all that shit, but just in general, like if
Oh yeah, you
if
mentioned that
if-
to me. Like people were saying, like it was so obvious she went on vacation. Like I have a job.
You
I
can go
could have
to.
afforded to go on vacation regardless of winning
We
Surviving
could-
There
Barstool.
are plenty of people who go to
like,
London.
Yeah.
Me and Marty both
Would've
work
been
here. We both can afford to
On
Go
like
on a
on a
vacation.
beautiful vacation with their family.
Yeah, like we're good.
Yeah.
But if you don't like someone,
It was just an
and
echo
then you
chamber
watch-
of the first person saying like they didn't want a girl to win. They didn't want
Yes,
like they
there's
just
a lot of that.
It's a lot of like Taylor and Will didn't get to win.
Yes,
like,
a lot of
it's
that.
like
Glenn
yeah.
Taylor and Will.
I will
Yeah.
say that it was just because of that. Like, I don't think it was just because I'm a girl or whatever. Like, I think I cried a lot. I like literally had a mental breakdown about whatever. But there was so much more that went into that like people didn't see. Like,
that's
not
the one part I
sleeping,
give the
not
audience a
eating,
little
like-
bit of grace because
Yeah.
it's like
they're not.
it's not a game to people in Barstool. A
Yeah.
lot of real life like storylines or deeper
But even
issues
the
and
crying,
shit come
like
out.
the
you know?
crying, I think also comes from being like I think if like one of
That's
the
it, you're a girl.
I think if
You're
one of the
crying.
guys like had a breakdown, they've been like, wow, that was really powerful that they showed that
Well,
on
I'll tell you
TV.
what,
Well,
I was
I
like,
mean,
damn, guys
if
had
it's
breakdowns
like
that didn't
it's-
make
if the
it.
guy's crying, make the
Yeah,
air.
like none of the guys cried,
Yeah.
and somehow that wasn't shown at
The
all.
fact that there were
So-
guys who
but
shall
it was like
remain nameless,
nonstop.
but
The
the
girls
fact that there were guys
crying.
who cried and didn't make the cut is
there were
nuts
some
to me.
conversations that were
Yeah.
that were not
So because
aired.
that changes the whole fucking narrative of like all the
Right,
girls are
and-
crying
and
if a couple of the dudes are crying.
It is what it is. Like watching myself freak out like that was I like proud. I'm like, no, what the hell? I'm freaking out. But there was
that's
like
supposed to be the entertainment.
Yeah,
though.
and like that's just
it's
reality
almost
TV.
like I respect the people that go on these shows and put themselves out there, and it entertains me. So I'm not going to give them shit.
And
for
that
it.
freak out was only one day. But because it was aired
3 weeks.
Like for a couple episodes, it looked like it was happening like every day. But that was only one day
was
of,
like 6
of
hours of real
filming.
life.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
6 hours that like I just was having like a bad couple of hours of like
Right. Yeah.
it was like the 6th day that we were there,
Even
barely
people were
sleeping,
like,
barely
she
eating.
doesn't change her clothes. It's one fucking day, guys.
That was another thing. People kept thinking I wasn't changing my clothes, but like we filmed like 3 episodes a day sometimes.
Yeah.
So
It's like-
there was a lot that went into it.
It's
but
literally like Stanford science. Like there's like science behind it. Makes you crazy. Like,
yeah,
Stanford,
right. No,
you know,
it I started going. So I
Not
didn't go
even that you, like,
outside
were, but,
for
like,
7
emotions
days.
are
Like,
Dude, if
obviously.
you watch the Mr. Beast game show,
I haven't watched any of it. It
I
seems
mean,
it's
people
I mean,
are
it,
weeping. Men,
Yeah.
women, old, young. We're family.
and that shows
we're
that
this, we're
the
that.
the behind the scenes of that has been a disaster.
Yeah,
No, like
big
he's
time.
being
Big time.
sued and all
Yeah.
everything. That's So
I do
that
wanna-
was some sadistic shit.
I
Yeah.
do want to give a shout out though, because our listeners, like the Chicks in the Office listeners, were so supportive and nice, and like couldn't have had a better reaction. So I don't want to focus on people who
Well,
maybe
that's
had
what
like a
I'm
poor
sorry for you
reaction
guys
to
in
it,
general,
because
that
like our audience was so pumped that like they really. It was great. Like
I was gonna
that's
say,
what
I
just-
didn't see every
we
single
live
episode.
and we live in such a like bubble where we kind of forget. Like I had one of my best friends text me who was watching, and she was like, "This is so fun. Ria's doing so great." And it was like, and I was like, "Yeah, it's great, but you know, she's really going through it right now." And she was like,
Wait,
what? She
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like she's doing so
But it's-
well.
it's-
And
those
I was
people
like,
are
and she was
not
like,
vocal
oh my,
online.
yeah. She was like, my first thought wouldn't have even been to look. Like I
Right,
wouldn't. I'm
right.
just. She's like, I'm just enjoying it, like on my TV at
And
night,
also,
going to bed.
Fran knows this, but like partially the reason like I was quote unquote going through is because like I was actually receiving like very scary threats, and I never talked about
So
that publicly, and like I
fucking
won't go
Yeah.
further, but like people were getting really crazy, and that was sort of the bad reaction of like what I thought was really bad. Whereas like people just saying whatever it is, but like people like going through lengths to like threaten me and my family members is like.
Yo, you got to be the
You know,
biggest.
like that
Truly,
was
I mean
like-
this. I'm not exaggerating. The biggest loser in the
Oh,
world.
no, completely.
Add up all the losers. You're the
No, you
worst. You're
take
at
the
the
cake.
bottom of the
No.
list.
You take the cake for
That's
sure.
fucking
it was
insane.
insane. Like I was like, oh shit.
You
like
fucking
nothing else.
losers.
Once like that happens, nothing else matters besides like making sure like you and your family are okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, like for those people, their punishment should be having to stand up in front of all their family
They have to do
members and
something
loved
public.
ones
Yeah.
and
And say
admit and
Yes.
read out loud exactly
Yes.
what they said.
Are
And
these
Right.
people who work here or
no,
fans?
yes. But there's like, no.
John, no
I
one
was like,
here.
what
But-
is happening?
Knowing
Yeah.
Barstool, it's probably secretly
Yeah,
people
yeah,
working.
yeah. And
If
like,
Ria would
and like
track down,
having
it would be like someone who was, sitting next to her.
absolutely crazy. So
Would you ever do it? You haven't done one of them, have you?
no, and my first thought would have been yes, but kind of like
She made me
after
think
what
no,
just
like-
happened, I'm not really dying to do it.
I think
I'm
the
not
prize
gonna
would
lie.
need to be higher for me
I-
to.
I-
I
See,
also think
think
I'm
it's-
shit out of. I also think I because I was on my honeymoon, or else I would have been playing.
yeah.
So that would have been an interesting dynamic. I don't know now, like, because she's done it. So it's like, oh, now if I get thrown in, does that make sense? Or if it's like something that I do. I also think like if I were to play Surviving and I went in and she wasn't playing, like they'd just be like,
You're
get
out.
Fran out of here immediately. like she knows, like just get her out of here immediately.
I don't know.
It
I
would be
think you
interesting.
could go- I think you could go pretty
But
far.
I just I Ria knows this about me. When there's something that is just like that much of a potential headache in my life and personal life and everything, no thanks. I'm good.
You're smart.
Yeah,
Well, that's
like
where
you know,
I've learned
I
a
will
lot of
conti-
that from her though.
Like,
Like,
I'll continue to do my job. I'll do my show. We'll do what we need to do.
Fuck the
I don't.
bullshit.
I don't need to do that.
yeah.
Like
yeah. That's. I mean, it's a smart
Yeah.
way to be.
Yeah.
I probably, if I was invited back, I would probably say yes. But like,
Yeah.
it was not an automatic or I put it this way, I don't want to anymore. Like I
Really?
used to. Yeah.
I mean, I
No, 'cause,
would.
well, it also depends on like who you are. Like I
Yeah.
know if I don't think I would ever do better than we did the first time.
Yeah.
So that's also part of it. Is like I think I gave it my best shot. and I know how many people already don't like me, it will only be a headache for me. There's no way I'm going on that show and having people like change their minds about me and all of a sudden becoming positive about me. So it's just putting a bullseye on my back for a lot of intense hate. And it's just
That's
like,
what I feel about it
So that's
too.
why it's got to be, and I'll do that for like $5 million. I'm not doing that for 125 after taxes.
But that's my mindset in doing these things. Like, I'm not planning on winning. So the money doesn't really matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to go into it planning to win. It's like a 1 in 25 chance. Like, go in and just
that's
fucking.
how I felt about it too.
have
I'd
a
be
good
like,
time.
look, I'll say yes if I'm the second one to go. Okay.
No, I
for a
definitely
week.
did not think I was going in it to win. Like,
Well, I was gonna say, I don't think
just
anybody
wanted.
thinks that,
You
dude.
don't think?
What?
I don't think anybody's like, I'm going to win.
Then how does your brain shift so much?
When
Like-
you make it to a certain point, you go,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
now I'm gonna fuck.
Well,
like,
but
you
I
start
shifted
getting
when
so.
when
I had all
realized
the
that-
confidence in the world in Rhea winning. I'm not gonna lie. When she said
I
she was
feel like
gonna
it was
do it,
clear
I
from,
was
like-
like,
Really? Yeah.
because I just felt like kind of exactly what she did was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's just I was like, these guys are kind of gonna underestimate your game, I think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I was like, you have great relationships with a lot of people.
Well, that was what
and
I
you
think
don't,
was
and a
that's
lot of people don't
big-
realize that.
Yes.
Like, I think
That was the
people
same
don't
thing for
realize that,
us.
like, you talk to a lot of these people. And like they're not gonna realize that.
Dude,
And it's
everybody
gonna
we
be-
sat
was
with
so
was
shocked
like
Yeah.
ready
to
to
see
be in
that. Like,
alliance.
when I was like, I'm friends with everybody.
I
So
know.
it's like,
I
Well,
know.
so, like, it's like I think it was like blowing people's minds that she'd be like texting Will. It's like, what do
Yeah.
you mean you were texting
Right,
Will?
like when Big Cat was texting me about our alliance, he was like, "I'm in a pretty good spot with Will, and you don't know Will at all, so like this will be good." And in my head, I'm like, "I'm fucking texting Will on the side."
Yeah,
too. Like,
like,
it's
that's
like crazy. I was
So it's
like,
like I think you have a really good way to weave through this because no one's gonna think like, oh, Ria's talking to all these people. Ria's talking
That's
to, like,
the
you know,
key. Like when
yeah.
I did it, every single person I sat with I was close enough with to be in an alliance.
Yeah.
And like when I started to think we were winning, I kept just being like, we have like 5 people at every vote. And of course, then they backstab you, and that's just,
Yeah.
in that moment. I was like, I'm pretty sure all of these people are voting with me, and that's just a numbers game. We have 5 people every time, and so. But it's like, yeah, I'm friends enough. Che came to us to do it, but I was like, I'm friends with Rico, I'm friends with Tommy, I'm friends with this, I'm friends
Yeah.
with that. And it's just like I can do it with all these people.
The
I
only
do think-
person,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
the only person I ever sat with where I wasn't close enough was Jerry, and Jerry and I have a perfectly fine, nice relationship, but I just didn't really know him that well. And in like 30 seconds of sitting there, I was like, I'm voting for you. I was just like, I didn't know what else to say. I was like, I'm not gonna just like fucking pretend. I was like, yeah, I'm voting for you. And then I shook his hand.
Yeah, people love that. I respect you telling me.
And he was like, in the moment, I thought, I was like, there's a 100% chance he's going home. I don't know what else to say here.
Yeah.
And I said, and he did not go home. I forget, because he ended up being in the final 3. I forget what happened, but it was a really dumb move by me.
I do think, like, going into another season, if they were to do it again, though, like, people would, because of how dramatic this one was and, like, so many emotions and whatever, I think people would, like, make sure that they didn't do any of that. And it was, like, I think they would be like, it's going to be a lot goofier and funnier and, like, just because of
It'll
the
be
reaction.
I'll tell you what,
I agree.
one thing you
It'll
can
be
do-
such a
burying
it'll
it-
be such a different
Yeah, they'll be
season.
burying it deep inside their souls.
Yes.
And like they'll be acting like it's not eating them alive. Like,
But
no,
it is.
it's not eating me alive. And it's like, no, I know
Yeah.
it is.
You know
I
what?
know
They
it is.
either depends on what kind of show they want. If you want the goofy and funny, or if you want the crazy, it hinges on one man. Just either insert Kirk Minahan or take Kirk Minahan. And then it's like, if Kirk's not there, everyone can goof around. If Kirk's there, everyone's gonna go cut Kirk.
I know.
Because you know he's not gonna goof around.
Right. And I feel like Kirk is like 100% been like, if there's another one, I'm in it. So
He's bullying his way into it no matter
yeah,
what.
yeah, that's what,
He's
like
left
if
off the
there
list.
is another
He'll
one,
show
he
up. He'll
will
just
be
show up.
he will be
Yeah.
he will be on
I
it.
also feel like if you try and go into it like being like, oh, it's gonna be so silly and goofy, it's kind of like how like if you're drowning, like all you wanted, like your body instantly,
just
like you just
Yeah.
thrash around, you just want to try and breathe. Like I think like people will go into it and then survival instincts kick in. You're like, no, I'm gonna fucking win this thing.
Right.
I'm gonna cut through it. Yeah, I would obviously do it again, but like I could see a world in which we don't do Survivor, we pivot to Traitors or something. Is that a crazy
Yeah,
say?
I think Traitors is a
no,
better
I think there's
gameplay.
yeah.
I can
That's-
see a world where they do like teams.
I could see also an Amazing Race thing.
Yeah.
Clemmer's Rat Race has had a decent amount of success where like the idea has been proven out, and now you do it like for real, where you're like flying, not just
Yeah.
running around.
We
Or
call
like-
it Roan's Rat Race.
Rat race. Or like how they did like do the challenge. They would do like Battle of the Rivals. You know, like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
would, like,
Yeah.
Well, now
put two
you've
people
done
together
enough where
that
you can bring
hate
people
each
back.
other.
Yeah. Well, that's the producers here. I listen. I love them, and at the end of the show, they always get their flowers because it is this massive lift. And everyone's like, it wouldn't happen without you guys. And they do the whole fucking.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, these are also the sick fucks.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, and then we're gonna show her crying. We're gonna show. And I'm like, fuck you guys. I know that you're editing all night long, but you're editing to fuck me over. So, forgive me if I don't suck your dick over it.
While we're talking TV and with Chicks in the Office here, I'd like to get off a sexist take.
Oh.
Let her rip.
Yeah.
It's gonna be anti-men, though. I know. It's gonna be anti-men.
No,
okay.
Kinda. We'll see. No, I don't think so. I was watching a lot of. You're a Criminal Minds fan, right? Or SVU. You like Dick Wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah. So similar type shows.
Chicago.
Yeah. I have no interest in those shows when it's a female unsub.
Where's the female what?
Unsub.
Wait, yeah.
The unknown subject, of course. The killer. I was watching Criminal Minds
Female
this
killers don't
weekend,
get you going?
and it's just like I don't know. I can't relate to their psychosis. Like,
Well, there's not that many of them.
Well, that's the.
Here's the thing. It's all men murdering
Yeah,
people.
that's why there's not that many episodes that they come up with of it.
No, to
because
be honest,
there's
we
not,
should
as
stick-
much, not as much
girls don't get caught.
inspo.
We should keep DEI out of those shows. Stick to the statistics. It's white men. They're all white men
Yeah.
killers.
That's why it's so like Surviving is so frustrating because it's like, okay, yeah, the girls cried a little bit. You guys are killing people all the time.
Girls are so dramatic. Well,
Yeah.
a guy like ties you up in the basement and kills
Well,
you.
that's like for like when a guy snaps, I'm like, yeah, dude, having a boss does suck.
One of my favorite,
Like, you know what I mean?
one of my favorite things was like there was like a very niche TikTok trend going on during all that too, where like girls were filming their boyfriends or their husbands, like, and they were saying, "Oh, he tells me I'm too emotional." But he's like, and it's like them locked in watching
Game or whatever.
Unnamed, and they're all just fucking screaming at each other about surviving. And he's like, but this is your entertainment, and you're gonna yell at me for wanting to watch a Housewives reunion, right? Like,
I mean,
No,
I've,
it's so
I've
funny
been
'cause
saying
they
that from
would
the
say-
beginning. That
Yeah.
Barstool has always been Kardashians
Yeah.
for dudes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because they would be like, oh, the women on the show are so emotional. Like, you do know emotions means
Other
anger,
thing. Yeah,
is
yeah.
what
Yeah.
that mean
Yeah.
is. Like,
Right.
there's other emotions besides that. Like, all those men were so emotional.
yeah,
Well, but you know what it is? There's, and this is, I think, happens with politics. It happens with everything. As a guy, if you have to pick an extreme, I think, if you want to be classified as an asshole or a pussy, everyone has to be an asshole. And I think that's why a lot of people like, it's like if you're left or right, it's like asshole versus pussy kind of. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are not. Guys would rather be viewed as like a psychopath than crying.
yeah, crazy.
Which is crazy, but it's true. If you could be screaming at someone like a fucking lunatic
Yeah.
on camera versus crying, guys would be like, "Oh,
John,
I'll
they
be the
did.
music
They actually did. It's a must-watch event in my television schedule. But when they do the Chicago crossover and they do all 3 episodes into one, like basically feature-length mega movie.
Wait, so was it Chicago?
It's Chicago Med, PD, and Fire, and they
Oh,
like make it
yeah,
one
that's
long.
it.
It's like and they all transition into each
Yeah,
other, and they're
yeah.
all in like the whole thing. There was a great twist at the end where a woman was involved, and you would never have guessed she was involved, but it was a good way.
See, well,
like that was.
I would like that.
Yeah.
There's a particular Criminal Minds episodes I'm referencing
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it was just like it was a woman who wanted to get married, and her sister was getting married, and she loved the sister's fiance, and she had visions of the fiance telling her the sister was pretty, this woman was not, and she would have these visions of like the handsome fiance like, telling her he loves her, and so she was killing all other girls he's ever dated and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't see myself snapping like this. But then there'll be a guy who walks into the office and shoots everyone. I'm like, I fucking get it, dude. Been there, brother.
you just get the different. That's like the. What's this show that won every award for like a million years? Like it felt like it was going on forever.
Grey's Anatomy?
No, Baby Reindeer.
Oh,
Like when you have like someone like that, you're like, they could kill.
Yeah.
Listen, there are girls out there who are capable of it.
They could kill.
I think they usually don't get caught, to be honest. That's the main thing.
Yep.
No,
I
the
think
guy.
it's like easier to justify a girl a little bit, where it's like, it's fine. Like,
Jackie's like, you know what? He probably deserved it.
But it is like so funny how like again, how the shows are designed and how a woman snaps, as far as media depiction is, versus how a guy snaps.
Yeah.
And like with the woman, I'm like, I just can't get it. And with the guy, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Traffic does suck.
Half the episodes are like trying to find a serial killer, and it's like that's not going to be a woman.
Yeah. It's 100% 30s white men. Like just keep using guys who look just like me.
Yeah.
That's living out my fantasy.
Well,
I
dude,
was thinking this I was just thinking this last week because like when they say like, oh, a woman shouldn't be a president because like when she's on her period, like she'll whatever. The way my hormones last week, like I was on my period, the way I would have launched a fucking missile last week, my blood was boiling. I was like, we cannot let a woman be president. Oh my God. I took it all back.
Fuck, I had one more thing. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Do you have a person in mind that if you were going to start killing people, you would go for first?
God damn,
at the office?
I don't.
At the office.
We can go there.
I didn't say that.
So John has a
kill in the
kill.
office, but since you said the office,
John has a voodoo doll of someone at home.
fucking Robbie. I'm gonna kill all Nick right behind me. No, my perfectly honest answer is no. I would not be a killer. I don't.
No, that wasn't the answer. Do you have someone you would kill?
if you were a killer.
If you were a killer, like,
But
you're
like,
the first
Who would
person
you
you
like?
kill.
Like a type of person that you would target?
No, like, is there a specific person in your head that you were like,
No.
I would kill them?
Oh, I don't have one.
No, I don't either. It was just a question because you were talking about being a serial killer a lot.
Yeah, right. That's, yeah.
Does he? Should I start questioning this?
Yeah.
No.
Evan Williams is game day's #1 pour. Whether you are watching the Four Nations hockey tournament or the shitty NBA All-Star game, or you are watching anything you're watching, it enhances any game, it enhances any show, any movie. You want to get yourself an Evan Williams pour, whether it's from the center court to the diamond to the gridiron to the clay courts to the golf course and everywhere in between. If you're a fan of Kentucky's first distiller, you should consider yourself a part of Bourbon Nation. And a part of Bourbon Nation, you got to drink yourself some Evan Williams. It is known for its smooth, approachable profile. It's got caramel and vanilla with a little bit of oak, a couple hints of spice, and a little bit of sweetness. What a combination. Caramel, vanilla, oak, spice, sweetness. Sign me up for that. It works well for sipping straight. You could put it on the rocks. You could shoot it. You could use it for a cold old-fashioned, any other whiskey and bourbon cocktails. Evan Williams, every which way, every game day. Check it out. Enjoy game day's #1 pour now by Evan Williams and join Bourbon Nation. Enjoy responsibly. Must be 21 or older. Evan Williams, straight Kentucky bourbon. Bars Down, Kentucky, 43 to 45% alcohol by volume. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to take your nutrition to the next level? Grab yourself a Huel. We have our fridge over there in the corner, loaded up with Huel shakes. This one is the Vanilla Black Edition. So it's got 35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, and 27 minerals and vitamins. So I'm going to crack this bad boy open right now. A nice little vanilla shake in the middle of the day. Because you know me, I'm always recording in the middle of the day. So I'm not going to be able to stop and have a meal. I don't want to go out and drink, go out and eat. 35 grams of protein. You get 70% of your daily value in just one 16.9 ounce drink. So you don't have to have a huge meal. You don't have to waste a lot of time. You can get your Huel shake with the Black Edition, and it's ready to, it's basically a complete meal ready to drink in the bottle. Over 400 million people have gotten down with Huel. That's Huel, like fuel, but with an H. It's convenient. It's perfectly balanced. It's tasty. It's delicious. And it is easy to get your nutrition and your protein in. So right now, go to Huel.com. That's Huel, like fuel, but with an H. Huel.com/KFC15. And new customers will get 15% off plus a free gift only when you use that promo code and that URL. That's Huel.com/KFC15 to get 15% off plus a free gift. Unlock a healthier and easier way to fuel with Huel just in minutes. Go to Huel.com/KFC15.
I one more thing I thought of the other night.
Yeah.
Has Eddie ever done a dog walk with a priest? I'd like to hear that interview.
Wait. What?
I'd like to hear. I was watching.
He would like Eddie to go on a dog walk with a priest.
Yeah, what the
Let me say it again.
No, I was
What's
making,
so hard?
I was making sure.
And now,
I-
if you don't, if you don't know, some people out there have no idea what any of those words mean.
I was making sure I heard that correctly.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
By the way, this latest drama with the dog walk draft with Nadu is
yeah, the dude was so heartbroken. I mean, like, my
can't
reputation,
tell, like,
my
he's-
Iraq reputation.
He's joking, right?
I would have. I don't know.
the fact that you don't know
he's
it-
one of
Nadu
those
back in the
ones
mix?
that were like.
Huh?
Nadu back in the mix?
He always pops up.
Yeah.
He's a flare up.
I haven't
you never,
seen
You never
this.
get rid of it.
But so two quick things. One, because they're both movie related. I watched We Live in Time the other night.
Oh,
What movie's that?
I haven't watched it
Oh,
yet.
that's a great
Garfield and
movie.
Florence
Yeah.
Pugh.
Yeah. I heard tearjerker.
What a
Oh
film.
yeah,
I-
that was a
Was it
cry
really
fest.
sad?
I
That was
was
a sob.
weeping.
Yeah.
I can't.
Big
I
time.
can't watch movies.
Dude,
like
that was a very
Kevin, did
real
you-
movie.
Make,
It felt
make
like
me
that
break.
was
Yeah, those ones kill me. Kevin, did you watch Wild Robot
Wild
with your
Robot.
kids?
No, what's that?
Oh my God, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. It's a fantastic film.
Is it a kids'
It's
film?
animated, yes. I do love animated movies, but oh my God, like animated movies sometimes make you cry more than other
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah.
and like this just ripped. Like I had to be consoled like at the end of the movie, like to be like it's okay. Like, but it's really really good.
I watched.
really good.
We've been watching all the Marvel movies with my kids.
Yeah.
And we finally got to Infinity War and Endgame this weekend. So it was like the culmination of the last like 6 months of watching movies. And I'm on the couch with Shay. Spoiler alert for like anybody under a rock who doesn't know. Right after Tony Stark dies, and he's like giving his like he has that video where it's like his speech to
Yeah.
his daughter afterwards. So me and Shay are like snuggled together watching it, and she is sobbing, like
yeah.
weeping. I was filming her during it. It was so funny. She was like,
Oh,
like trying to stop herself.
it
I'm
was
looking at her, I'm crying.
It was a tough scene in the movie theater
By
when,
the way,
when
I
the
can't
Barstool
believe
gang
you-
went to go watch that one.
Yeah, I went. I'm
we
not a
were
Marvel person.
weeping.
You want to talk about two people
Yeah.
at Barstool crying?
Yeah,
go
yeah.
go watch a Marvel movie.
Yep.
But at the very end of it,
Wild that you only met his kids for the first time.
I know. I know.
We
it's
were
so-
talking
Ria
about
and I
that.
had a side convo about
did.
that.
We
We
were
were
like,
it used
what?
to eat at me,
Yeah.
man. It,
We were
it
like,
really
this
used
is
to eat
weird.
at me.
Like,
It was like it was just so weird because it was like, yeah, I probably should have just like invited him over to the house, but it was
Yeah.
it's just like
Do you guys do that sort of thing?
nuts. We don't do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
it would
see, I know.
have been like I would literally.
I'm
just
expecting
be
Ria to
checking the
be
box.
at my hospital, like she's gonna be like push.
Yeah, right. We have a couple trip coming up. Like we
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
in each other.
Well,
you know
but
what I mean?
also things were so weird for a couple years in the beginning there that it was not like, come on over, John.
Right,
It was
right,
like,
right, right.
Right.
That's
You
true.
know, so
That's
that,
true.
that era was
But it's
weird.
been
and then
almost a
after that it was
decade.
almost like weirder because it was at the level of like where they were old enough that I think they would just be like, what's this guy doing here? And then John would be like, I don't know what to do here. You know, I just kept thinking
That's
of it that
true.
way where it's like
Maybe you
It's
just
gonna be awkward for
maybe you
him,
just
it's gonna be
overthought it a
Are
little
you
bit.
good with
you know?
kids?
I'm fine with kids.
To like for him to
Yeah.
pick
I
me, you're
wouldn't say
like,
I'm good
here's
or bad.
this is your Uncle John, and they're like,
well,
who
that's
the
other
fuck
thing
is
too.
Uncle
Like,
John?
we FaceTime.
Yeah.
I've talked about him. They do know Uncle John. They just have never seen him.
The infamous Uncle John.
Yeah. So
Like,
then,
Dad, who's this invisible
Yeah.
guy you keep
And then, you
talking
know what-
about?
you know
But
what-
see,
you know
but
what's a good example?
this is what they're missing out on, and now I hope you are more involved because like the stories that they will be able to tell when they're older of like their dad's friend Uncle John will be
Yeah,
so
I
funny.
know.
Like
Right.
those are like I have
That
some
fucking weird
yeah,
guy.
like even some of my dad's, and because they all my dad's friends have like weird nicknames that I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even know that guy's real name. Like it's like my dad's like best friend. I'm
And he kind of raised me.
yes, and but like, and you have
It's also
great stories.
if I was more social and like did things, I would invite them.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I go home, I hang out with my kids. I don't, you know.
At some point, if you had more kids, like, would John be considered like a godfather at some point? Would he be
Oh
in
yeah,
the rotation?
yeah.
In the
Yeah,
rotation.
now it's
Yeah,
I'm a 3-time godfather.
once now that like
Once
when
you go
I, when
through
I
the
was getting
siblings.
married and
Yeah,
doing
you got to
that,
get through the
you gotta get to the
and then-
siblings.
Yeah, but even I don't know. Yeah, you're at the top of the list now. But back then it was, you know, not really. You weren't at the list
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that point, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what it is?
I'm a one-time
really
guy
Well,
now.
I was telling this story the other day, like I guess I'm pretty good with kids because like they know like they like to wrestle with me and I like to wrestle with them. And
You're always bringing up wrestling.
What was the line?
well, that's
You
that's
used
what
to
I'm telling.
wrestle a lot
Yeah, I
Used to.
like,
in the office.
It was just
I mean,
that YP was
It was
around.
YP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
someone
I
to wrestle
wrestle
with.
people. I like wrestling with people who want to wrestle. I don't like wrestling people who don't want to wrestle. Kids come up to me, they're like, "You want to wrestle?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll fucking wrestle."
Listen to this though.
But
It's so funny.
it's actually at the same house we were doing mushrooms, same people. Kids weren't there this time. But my friends were up and they brought their kids with them, and they have one son who's like 5, and he was like, "Uncle Johnny, we got to wrestle." So we were wrestling like the whole weekend, and then one night we're watching The Revenant. And so everyone is just sitting silently. It was like someone's boyfriend put it on, someone's husband put it on, and it was like no one knew it was like a 4-hour movie.
Right now, you're all just stuck watching The Revenant.
And so we're all like, and like it's like an Airbnb rental house, so like it's not set up for like 10 people to be cozy. So like 6 of us are just wildly uncomfortable, like sitting on stone for hour 3 of a movie. And Ned comes up to me and he's like whispering, he's like, "Uncle Johnny, Uncle Johnny." And I was like, "What's up, Ned?" He goes, "You want to go play rough?" And I was like, "Ned, that's absolutely what I want to do, but you got to stop asking it like that."
Call it something else.
So
Not
funny.
playing rough.
I have a very similar story like that of like what I did when I was a kid. I used to pee my pants all the time when I was younger. Like I had like a peeing pants problem, I would say up until like 2nd-ish grade. Like so much so that my parents had to come to the school and like meet with the nurse to put like extra underwear in the nurse's office because I like would just pee. Like I think I was like afraid to go to the bathroom and then would just pee my pants. Yeah, I know. First day of pre-K, I peed my pants. I was wearing a sick pink tie-dye outfit. I remember it. But anyways, 2nd grade,
I know.
we would always do like a morning prayer, Pledge of Allegiance. So we were standing up doing the morning prayer and Pledge of Allegiance, and I wore a uniform, so I wore a skirt and like high socks, and I legitimately just peed on the floor like standing up in 2nd grade. And I remember like taking my shoe and like wiping it like around like on the tile floor. Like it was really bad. And I remember,
You're lucky you didn't become a serial killer.
No, I know.
That's an
That's crazy.
origin story right there.
I was embarrassed as a kid. I don't know what's going on. Like I had like a pee problem. And I remember going up to my teacher, and I will never forget this, and I like whispered in her ear, and I was like, I'm a little wet. And I will never, ever forget that, ever. And she was like, you gotta go to the nurse.
Oh my God. Dude, that reminded me
Gotta get that under control.
of a
So
story.
early for that.
When I was in 5th grade, we had like foursome desks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I sat across from my girlfriend, play footsies like a son of a bitch, just footsie like crazy. And then to my right sat her best friend, and then I forget who was over there. But one day we're in class.
They weren't important.
Yeah. And her best friend was in a skirt that day, gets up and just sprints out of class. And I look at Elise's seat, and there was a lot of blood. And so I instantly freaked out. Where I jumped up and I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know where blood's." And I'm like trying to get the teacher's attention, and my girlfriend's kicking me under the desk, going, "Shut up, don't say anything." And I was like, "What did you do to Elise?"
Don't you rat on me.
No, it's so crazy how
God, that's the worst.
Dude, that's
stupid
the
boys
fact.
are with
Like,
that.
That is the worst. Especially if you go through it early. It's like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed
No.
to tell
Boys-
you? Like, how are we supposed to get through this? This
Boys
is
should
insane.
really be taught about periods more, I think.
Yeah.
I
They
don't think it's
no,
enough because
100%.
No idea what
Marty
had
just
happened.
told me a story the other day. He was like, me and my friend were hanging out with 2 girls in like 8th grade, and we were just like walking around the park, and she was wearing white pants, and like she started bleeding a ton, and we were like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And I was like, "That's crazy."
That was
like,
crazy. Especially if you don't have sisters.
right? If you,
know?
because he only has
Yeah.
a brother, and then like I'm sure
He's
his
never gonna.
mom
your
kept it to
parents will sit
himself.
you down and be like,
Right.
"So,
Like-
in a couple years, girl, you're gonna be bleeding."
Yeah.
Boys should be taught about periods way more.
They absolutely no, they should.
So they don't think their girlfriends murdered their best friend in 5th grade.
the poor, the poor like embarrassment that you have when you're in middle school, and it's just like, I went to all girls high school, which was amazing, but in like middle school was co-ed, and like trying to like slip your tampon into your hand and like walk to the bathroom like with your sleeve like covering your hand so that nobody sees where you're going. and like God forbid like a boy sees that you have like a pad in your purse or something, and it's like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I just fling them around the office now.
Yeah.
I got a tampon in my hand. I'm walking
Yeah.
around like this to the bathroom. I don't care.
No, I know. I'm
I didn't
like,
get mine until right before college. So I was like,
Oh my God.
I know. And like, so I always like wanted to be a part of
Late
it. Like, you guys
bloomer.
have tampons, right? Like I love them.
Tampons are so sick.
just like you just like
tampons.
asking your friends to borrow a tampon, like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, just, like,
you have
throw
an
them
extra
out.
one?
Like,
It just
yeah,
goes
yeah.
right in the trash.
You got a super?
Extra one. Yeah, anyway, so.
Like that's crazy though, because you guys never had to like deal with like putting a tampon in there, because you would go from pads to tampons. Not to get too graphic for you guys, but like you would, you don't just start off when you get your
tampons are
period.
crazy.
Yeah.
You don't just start off going for a tampon. Like that would be
No.
nuts. Like you
Ease
start
into
off
it.
with the pads.
Yeah.
Especially with like if you get it early.
Oh yeah, I used pads for.
Dude,
now
some, like, some
like,
girls are
well, you
getting
got,
it,
you
early.
gotta learn.
It's like you're a baby still.
Where's
Not to throw my sister
about to
on,
go
not
to
to throw my
college,
sister
you're
on the
a
bus.
baby.
She was like maybe 5th or 6th grade. Like
Yeah, that's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? The pads.
Yeah.
Here we go.
What
What are you doing? So what?
What just
I
like
love
I
this.
guarantee John thinks you like put the pad in.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
No, it's
no,
a
no,
tap.
no, I don't think you put it in.
Yeah.
But like, there's the adhesive.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
adhesive
it's
doesn't go on your skin.
No.
No,
No,
you put it in your
no,
underwear.
Okay.
So like
Yeah,
it
so it
sticks
sticks to your underwear.
They do all different kinds of shapes. So like if you wear like granny panties, you can do like the big ones. If you wear
Okay.
like a thong,
Thong,
and
yeah.
like you don't have a heavy flow, you can do like the little they have
cute
thong
ones,
shaped
yeah.
ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
there's so
was
many
pretty
options.
sure, but I just wasn't 100%.
I
Yeah.
used to wear like when I first got my period was 7th grade, and I actually remember it was like a big thing in my family, because I got my period and like my whole family was like, "Oh, it makes so much sense. You've been so bitchy this week." Like, and I was like, "What? Like that's so crazy." It's like I'm only
say to a young
Yeah.
I'm
girl.
only in 7th grade. Like what?
You're gonna be kind of a 12-year-old bitch lately.
Yeah.
Literally though. But I remember I used to wear like the biggest pads ever. Like, big pads.
Yeah.
And like I would always like bleed through my skirt and stuff until I discovered tampons in 9th grade. I started wearing tampons because at the end of the year we were invited over to this kid's house to go in his hot tub, and I had my period, and I told my mom, I was like, "Mom, what do I do?" And she was like, "Well, honey, you could use a tampon." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm using a tampon for the first time." And then I was like, "Wait, this is so much better. I've been walking around with a diaper on. Like this is insane. Like bleeding through my skirt in high school, and we wore a gray skirt. Like I remember it happening
Yeah.
a lot of times.
What a fucking fiasco that is.
Yeah, it's
man.
awful.
Like the fact that that and pregnancy in general, I think it's crazy that we just we haven't evolved to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking nightmare, the whole thing. Like I don't know, just
That
cooking
it is.
in a fucking in a lab, rather than growing a body inside of you. It's fucking nuts, dude.
That we live in time birth scene is pretty unevolved. It's a great
Yeah,
scene,
yeah.
but you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is just, we're animals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very primal. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to those years with my daughter. It's tough.
Yeah, but here you are learning about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm pretty well versed on a lot of that shit, but it's still very hard to something that you also I cannot offer any personal experience. That's hard.
Yep.
And I got my son's a dope. It's like
Yeah.
when we were crying at the end of Endgame. So at the very end, Tony says, "I love you 3000."
Yeah.
And so I'm sobbing, Shay is sobbing, and Keegan goes, "Wait, her name is 3000?" And I snapped me out of it. I was like, "This is so perfect. This is my girl."
Yeah.
It's so
could not have
cute.
had more different reactions. It was very funny.
Wait, so has Eddie ever had a preacher on his podcast?
Well, that was the other movie.
Right, so back to the point of why Eddie should have a priest on Dog Walk.
I was watching There Will Be Blood for the first time. I've never seen it. Unbelievable movie. I'm obviously not in the minority in saying that, but it's instantly one of my favorite movies. But I was just watching the priest, Paul Dano's character, and I was like, I bet it's pretty cool. We kind of actually, I didn't realize it until this morning when I was thinking more about it. We kind of did the sketch on it with Sass being the priest.
Yo,
but
sorry to interrupt. John has a request from you.
Oh, have you had a priest on Dog Walk?
One more time?
Have you had a priest on Dog Walk before?
I have, yeah.
You had. I knew you
Wow.
had. I didn't know, but I was like, I bet he has.
Didn't know. He didn't know. He didn't know.
How did it go? Was it
Well, actually, it was, Chris Farley's character the motivational speaker.
Yeah, yeah.
Matt Foley.
Yeah.
It was him. It was his priest. I had him on.
Really?
Wow.
Did you ask him like I was just thinking just as a priest, like because it's so much public speaking, like does he have like some topic that comes up in the world where he's like, this is my bread and butter. I'm going to crush the homily this week.
Oh yeah, he says it all the time. Like the homily for Christmas and everything is definitely like the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He knows. He's like, I got this. This is my area of expertise. 9 weeks a year, he's got to fake it, but
this time
he's like, this one, I'm good.
Yeah. All right, that's all. Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah.
I thought
You want to
priest.
talk to priest more?
I think that's like an interesting.
The only person in the world who wants to talk to priests more. Everyone else is like, get me away from these fucks.
Well,
had such
I've aged out. I'm comfortable now.
I'm not your demographic. You're not into me.
The short period of time that I was in college, when I was at FIT, we were watching Spotlight for the journalism class, and I was going on my phone a lot. And the teacher pulled me aside, like after the class ended, and she was like, you really like need to be on your phone less, like whatever, we're watching the movie. I said, well, no, the reason I was on my phone was because I was Googling, because the bishop that wrote this letter confirmed me. And she was like, what? And then the next class, she told everyone at the beginning of the class. And I was like, oh, thanks.
I got new material for my next class.
Yeah.
KFC Radio is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Everybody always talks about red flags. Why don't we talk about some green flags? Why don't we talk about getting on BetterHelp and trying to better yourself and worrying about your mental health and keeping your brain in good shape and your emotions and your feelings all in good check. That, my friends, is a green flag. Anybody who's on BetterHelp trying to make themselves better is a green flag. Full speed ahead. That's the kind of person you want to be around. Don't think about the red flags. Don't worry about the bad. Don't worry about don't always assume the worst in people. Think about the good. Maybe you're getting married. Maybe you got a great new friendship, a new relationship, something going on good at work. You still need to go to your BetterHelp and talk about these things because it's a green flag to make sure you take care of your brain the same way that people take care of their body. So make sure that your relationships and your life loves you back the way that you love it by going to BetterHelp. It's fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient. No awkwardness. You don't have to wait online. You don't have to go to the office. You don't have to commute there. It makes it as simple, as little time consuming, and as convenient and anonymous as you want it to be. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists. If you don't like them, you can move on. There's no awkwardness. There's no fee. You can keep cycling through until you find a BetterHelp therapist that works for you. So discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/KFC today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KFC for 10% off your first month.
That's the
Did you
start.
watch Conclave?
I liked it. I liked it until I loved it until I didn't like it.
I was bored like the first 45 minutes,
Really?
and then I thought it got better, and
I
then
haven't finished
and then
it. I
and
started
then I
on
was
the
like,
plane.
okay.
I didn't care for the ending.
Yeah, I was like,
I
okay.
thought the acting was great. I thought
Yeah.
the
I'm sure it's
writing
all
was
really
great.
like that, though. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Like,
And but it's also just
I don't
beautiful to
know.
look at. Like
I
the
bet you
pageantry.
it's pretty fucking
Oh no, I'm sure that, but like flying the
woman in,
woman from
yeah.
Africa
But
who
I don't know
has
if that would
had
happen,
his
but I bet
child,
like
and
I
yeah.
bet there are people who have.
Oh,
had
I'm sure it
kids
is
and,
as
like,
political as it is, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
gets as deep of like people's
Right.
beliefs and where they, you know.
I don't
if you're
know. I
more-
could kind of believe it though. It's like.
Yeah.
You know, like you get one. The other thing is you get one shot. Like you don't know when someone's gonna die.
Yeah,
it's not
no,
like when you're
for
like
sure.
in politics. You're like 8 years from now, 12 years from now, I'll be in the mix.
Yeah.
It's like this person might do it for the next 30 years. I gotta.
Yeah.
I gotta
like
pull
hidden
in
note,
my
like hidden
cards.
notes that like the Pope leaves behind, like
Yeah.
all these things. I'm like, yeah, maybe.
It
I
could
don't-
happen.
Yeah.
It could.
Yeah.
I didn't find it unbelievable or anything like that.
No, I didn't either.
But it was just the end was just like, I don't know. It didn't hit for me.
I agree.
Yeah, there was something.
I
about
felt
it
that
where
way
I
about it
was
too.
like, eh.
And then it just kind of also ended.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I'm fine with that when you like the credits run and you're like, oh, I
That was just
didn't
a thing
think
that
that was
happened.
going to be the end. I had to like rewind. I was like, did I miss something in the last like 3 minutes? That like I was like, wait, so that's it? Like I was like, there's no.
It won Best Picture last night. Or
It
2
did
nights
at the
ago,
BAFTAs. It did, yeah.
yeah.
But it is British made, I believe. So I think there's
is it?
maybe some because
they
it
got
like
a
won Best Film, but then it also won like Best British Film. So I was like, oh, maybe I didn't realize that that's
Paz
a
was
thing.
just saying the guy who made the Brutalist. He's like, I can't pay rent.
Yeah, he was
That
saying
sucks.
he
That's
said he made
fucking crazy.
Well, he said I don't think he said he can't pay rent. He said he didn't make any money from the movie, and he said there's a lot of people that are nominated for Oscars who can't pay rent.
Yeah. He said he hadn't made money in 5 years, and that everybody else who's nominated can't pay rent, which is fucking crazy. Wow,
That's a movie. It's just like it is crazy, but it's the movies that get this like critical.
It's like go make
success.
Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's like you're winning the awards, and everyone's like, "What a masterpiece work of art!" But it's like you can't go see it in a movie theater.
Right.
Then how's it make? It's not in my. You could The Brutalist. I'd love to see what the box office numbers were for The Brutalist because
I bet you it's like $5 million.
There was an intermission.
Yeah, that's.
Paz said it was his favorite
is
movie experience
long.
of the year, or maybe of all time.
But Paz is
Yeah.
A.
Yeah. What is your favorite movie of the year, both of you? I love reading your reviews.
Oh,
I remember you had a poll fairly recently on your Instagram story of like, should we keep doing these? And I never vote on anything, and I was like, yes.
I actually think 2 of my favorite movies of the year
31
are
million,
not.
by the way.
How much?
You made 31 million.
yes, that's nothing. That's how much money did it make to make the movie? It's to make,
It's crazy.
2 of my favorite movies of the year are not involved in the Oscars, but Challengers I loved with Zendaya. I really love
I think that is
Challengers.
nominated.
No, it was nominated for
No,
Golden Globes.
Golden Globes.
But Blink Twice.
Blink Twice is very good.
I loved Blink
Great
Twice.
movie.
Yeah, Blink Twice
Great
is really
concept, like very unique and
Those
original.
2 just like stand out to me
Yeah.
from the year. As for the ones that were like nominated and everything,
I thought The Substance was incredible until the last 30
well,
minutes. and
we
I was
just
like,
talked
what the
about
fuck is
this.
going on?
No, it was
Crazy.
like I would never recommend. I would never tell
You
anybody to watch
can't.
that
You
movie.
can't.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I thought it was great up until the
I
craziness.
thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I had to shut it off because I thought I was going to be sick, but I thought it was good. I explained that to Fran.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that I thought the movie was bad. Genuinely, I couldn't stomach it.
Yeah.
Like, there
That's
were,
a thing that people need to realize in general too. Like, I can acknowledge when this is good acting and it looks cool and it's well done. I just don't like it.
Yeah,
Same thing
yeah.
as the Kendrick Lamar shit. It's like
Yeah.
I just didn't like it.
Sometimes
It's
people
just-
are just like going to be so grossed out by that level
whatever
of
it
gore,
is,
like
you
or
know?
whatever,
Yeah.
like that. It's going to be like I can't watch this, and that's so fine because I feel like that was like the point of why they made it as
Agreed.
disgusting as they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I wanted
But it
to
was
know.
like I kept being like, oh, I get it. They're going really
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going. Oh, okay. I mean, they can't
Yeah.
go.
No, they made it as they took it as far as they could.
Insane.
But I felt like it hit a point where like I was like, okay, like come on, this is like
Now it's getting
ridiculous.
silly.
Now it's like, okay, now
Now
we're
it's-
gonna go big and go home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
keep going.
I wanted to know what happened and everything. So that's why I thought, okay, this is a really good movie. I like the concept. I just genuinely couldn't watch it anymore. Like I
Yeah.
was like, I'm really gonna be sick, I think. if I
I'm
keep
glad that
watching
they
this.
did end it as ridiculously as they did because it did like. How else could you end a
Just
movie like
like
that?
just regularly
like they
end.
just,
Yeah.
like they just die. Like
It needs to go to the
if they
extreme.
needed it,
Yeah.
they had to hit that absolutely extreme level, and it took the movie to like more of like a campy type
Yeah.
vibe,
Yeah,
and
totally.
like it's
I saw it in
I loved
theaters.
Honora.
I did not like it.
I loved Honora, and I mean, I like the big like I loved Wicked. Like I know, like, I
Wicked,
loved
yeah.
Wicked. I love musical theater, and like I loved Wicked.
I still haven't
Challengers
seen
I liked a lot too. I'm trying to think of like I didn't go to the
I didn't know
movies
Challengers. Like when I saw
that
Challengers,
much.
I didn't see Challengers. When I saw Challengers like preview, I
Yeah.
was like, this movie.
But I'm
is
watching- I've
fucking
watched, like, a
ridiculous.
lot
I
that's
didn't know it was
just
gonna get like nominated and
Been
be like.
boring.
I
Me and
really
Marty went
liked
to see
it.
Challengers with his parents, and we were like, what a bad idea.
Yeah, it's about like
Yeah.
threesomes and shit,
No,
right?
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
we left.
that's on you, girl.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We left the theater and they were like, "You took us to see a softcore porn," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Listen, I don't know what I just really wanted to see the movie.
Yeah.
We were with you guys, and I said, let's just go to the movies. Like I wasn't, but like they didn't get naked or anything. So.
Yeah.
Did you watch? Did either of you watch Amelia Perez?
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god!
I can
watched
tell
it?
that movie's not
Yeah,
for me.
It was so bad.
Okay,
Really?
good. I was gonna say,
No, it
I
was-
almost feel like I will judge you if you like that movie.
No, it
I
was-
see. I think
'Cause
I'm gonna
you're
I'm gonna like
trying
it.
to like it.
I think I
Yes.
think that's why I
And I think that's why it got so much. Like I think
You
that's
think you
like
will
the.
like it?
I just have a feeling. I just know how my brain works. Like I will try and find things I like
Yeah, you're
because
such a-
everyone
I
doesn't
try-
like
I-
it.
actually don't think
try
you're
to,
gonna like it.
and, like,
I
there
have
are-
not seen it, but I really
That one
No.
song,
the way that
where they say
Fran
penis or whatever is like crazy.
is she's open to everything. Like she will like something.
It has to be really bad for me
has
to not like it.
Yeah.
For her to say that she genuinely hates something, it has to be really, really bad. she ripped this film apart. Like absolutely ripped it.
Like
to shreds.
I understood, and I know why it got like they wanted to raise it up because it was like unique and different and cool. Like the concept was different. I'm like, okay, fine. Like I can buy into this concept, but the execution of it was so bad that I'm like, I can't. Like I'm not
If that
opposed
movie's
to
not-
an operatic movie drama. Like the premise of it wasn't so bad. Like the idea behind it wasn't so bad of like what that would look like. Of a,
I think if that movie's
you
not
know?
about what it's about, it's not getting propped up the way it is.
But
I think
it's- yeah,
I think
it
people would be a
really-
lot more willing to be like, that sucked, like on a technical
Yeah.
execution level.
And I just think like because
you
it
can't say that.
But I
right
think
immediately
it
because
was-
like the film festivals loved it, then everyone was like, oh, we love it, okay,
Right,
like it's
and then
good.
meanwhile, like the people in Mexico and everyone was like, "No, this is like
No,
the people
and
who it's supposed
they
to be
were
about
pissed
don't like
too
it."
because it was like a
and-
French director. Was
Right,
like, what
who's
do you know
never
about the
been- when
cartel?
she said, "I've
you don't
never
know,
been
yeah.
to Mexico,"
Yeah, never.
like,
It was
well, then
it was a lot of stereotypes.
Yeah. Wicked must be so mad.
Oh,
that the 1 year they do it, there's this
And
like
it's
artsy fucking.
no, I'm so
liberal,
pissed
like,
for
one
Ariana
that is,
Grande
like,
because
yeah,
like Ariana
she should be
Grande
racking it in,
dedicated so much to
like her
Wicked,
life. Her whole
and
life
like
is about
yes, and like put her heart and soul into it, and she's so good at in it. And like Zoe Saldana is great in the movie. Like fine, she's a great actress, but like you're gonna compare her performance like. Even just the singing, I know it's not a singing award, but you're like she's gonna lose. Ariana Grande's gonna lose for her performance in a musical to that performance in a musical.
If I was always I'd be like, I don't want to win this. Like, come on, this is crazy. Like,
I know, and now the main actress, she's like she was getting canceled and the whole thing. They're like still
Her
trying to
tweets
have
are
it.
wild.
Yeah, they're
They
still trying to
are.
have her like they're still trying to have the movie like
that
win
bitch is nuts.
Oscars.
Yeah.
If it wins Oscars, there's a big problem. I think
I
it'll
don't
win.
know if
It might
will
win
anymore
foreign
with
film.
Yeah.
But like it's just.
Were these tweets
Crazy.
that she deleted at one point, but somebody had resurfaced and already
No, I think
don't
they were still
deleted.
up.
Yeah.
No, I think they were still up.
They're from like 2022.
And they were
God,
like
dude, if you
literally
get
about
famous
Selena
and you-
Gomez, her co-star in the movie, like from years
She
ago.
was sweet. I didn't end up seeing like a lot of this there, but there was some about Selena Gomez.
There
Called her
were
like a
some-
rat.
Oh,
She was like
yeah.
that
Right, yeah.
rat's always crying
Yeah.
about her
Oh my God.
ex-boyfriend. Leave her ex-boyfriend and her wife and his wife alone.
Yeah,
So
she
now
called
do
her
you
a
think
rat.
Selena Gomez and her like are gonna be together? At
Carla is out. Like they're not bring. Like Carla did
no
not go to the
way.
BAFTAs.
Yeah.
Like she's
There's no way they could bring
She
her
shouldn't.
I think
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm saying. Like I think Netflix was like, you're
See you later, yeah.
So yeah, like we're still trying to have this
If
movie
you
win
get
awards.
famous
You're not like
and you
gonna be
don't
at the
clean
front.
up your social media, you absolutely deserve to get canceled.
Yeah,
Like, how fucking dumb for that woman to be like, wait a minute, I called that Mexican girl a rat. Let's get rid of that.
crazy.
It's fucking insane.
Wait, real quick, I'm just curious because we were talking about Selena. What do you guys think that Haley and Justin are on the rocks, on the outs?
I don't think they are. I think Justin might be going through a lot himself.
kid. Yeah.
But I think Haley is like there for him as much as she can be.
Yeah, those pictures they posted for Valentine's Day with him in the photo booth.
Yeah.
were a little odd. You know
I
what
think-
I mean?
I don't know what-
Like, I
I-
think that they're like.
Yeah,
like
I
you
think
said, like-
Justin's going through something.
Yeah, it seems like he's got to be going through something.
Sort of like his rapist is coming to light.
Right.
That's a good point.
There could be a lot of connections there for
Yeah.
sure. And I just think he's had his ups and downs.
He looked terrible in like those paparazzi
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah.
Where he's like,
Yeah.
looked like.
He doesn't
Does he-
seem like
does
he
he
doesn't
often
seem
look
like
good?
he's fully okay.
This looked like to me though, like it looked like
No,
it was like Christian Bale in the.
He
in the
he
Machinist.
looks
he
like
looked
ill.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't
sickly.
like
I was
his
like that picture's
it
not
wasn't
real.
like
It was so
his
bad.
outfit's stupid. Like he look
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
no, he doesn't. He looks physically
Right.
unwell.
There was one of him coming out of a spa, and I was like, good. Like I was like, you
Yeah.
need that.
You
It
needed
looks
that
like you
day.
need that rest.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
anniversary to when he DM'd you.
Yes.
5 years.
That was insane.
Too bad.
I always forget that happened,
bad.
but that was really insane. And the fact that we were live on
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
with
The
that
reactions
happening.
were like somebody died. It was unbelievable.
I was like, but we sold so much merch for that.
Yeah, we did.
I
Like
saw
you said,
that
when
sweatshirt.
shit goes wrong, it's
Yeah,
like
it was
whatever.
sick.
It was sick.
Yep.
All right, good stuff, girls. I'm happy for all your
Amazing.
success. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you so much
Thanks,
for coming
guys.
on.
Thank you guys for having
you,
us.
Maria.
Of course. We're just next door.
Yeah.
We'll come say hi.
Just knock on the wall.
All right, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Click that button.
Or I'll cut off my finger.